Halo, halo, witam serdecznie. Czy mnie widać, czy mnie słychać? Witam serdecznie. Przy okazji streama wyjątkowego, Patryk Rojewski, Rojson stream, wieczorną porą. Dzisiaj tak zwany co-stream, retransmisja jednoczesna. Zostałem poproszony, zaproszony o podzielenie się z wami wrażeniami na żywo podczas transmisji na żywo. Także jeszcze 9 minut. Jeszcze 9 minut. Potem jak damy full screen, to ten czat zniknie chyba, nie? Chyba tak. Także witamy serdecznie. Siema Jack i Mordko. Witamy serdecznie. A dziękuję sympatycznie. A co się stało? Dlaczego? Coś nie tak ze zdrówkiem, Jack? Dziękujemy ci ślicznie. Witamy serdecznie. Oczywiście, mimo że dzisiaj taki gamingowo-poglądowy, analityczny, komentatorsko-ludologiczny stream, nie zabraknie oczywiście kodów z gwarantowaną trójką. Mana Spark, Lichtspier, Krap na odpowiedzi prog mamy Tenants i Broken Reality. No i oczywiście przypominam, że powolutku, no u mnie 300 stopni, dramat, nie? Ja tylko po prostu płocę się jak szczur i dla mnie to jest taki plus, że kilogramy też łatwiej uciekają, szczególnie jak się wejdzie na rowerek. To jest śmieszne, po prostu tak cały czas ci kap, jakby cię woda lała z mózgu. Nie? Hifi, witamy serdecznie, dziękuję ślicznie. Cześć. Dzisiaj nie, bo teraz już wiem, że tabletki na sranie działają dokładnie po 7 godzinach, co ułatwia mi strategiczne podejście do tapsów i montaż odpowiedniego timingu. Co nas dzisiaj czeka na tym WitcherConie? Dzisiaj jest pierwszy dzień z dwóch. Dzień drugi jest jutro o 3 w nocy polskiego czasu. I dzisiaj mamy tak. Talię przeznaczenia, czyli Geralt z Rivii, przepraszam, Peralt z Libii będzie układał nam dietę. Czyli Wiedźmin sezon 2, talia przeznaczenia, żeby mieć ładną talię na lato. Potem mamy gwint, potem mamy sploty przeznaczenia. To chyba coś dla informatyków. Układy scalone, sploty, płyty główne. Następnie mamy wspomnienia ze szlaku. Następnie mamy quiz wiedźmiński, coś dla was. Następnie mamy za murami Kermoren. Następnie mamy pogromcę potworów wciel się w Wiedźmina, czyli wiedźmińska wersja Pokémon Go. Potem coś dla mnie, czyli figurki ze świata Wiedźmina. A na do widzenia mamy rozmowy z Henrym Cavillem. Nie wygląda to źle. Zobaczymy. Zdecydowanie wolałbym. Dziękuję, Samuraju. Pozdrawiam cię serdecznie, dawno cię nie było. Oczywiście wolałbym jakieś informacje dotyczące rozwoju marki w myśl gier wideo oczywiście. Jakaś 4, może restart serii, może jakiś prequel, narodziny Kermoren, początki treningów, prób, może inny Wiedźmin, bo tytuł jest jak najbardziej uniwersalny. W tytule nie ma Geralt, jest Wiedźmin, także może Lambert. No, znaczy ja akurat na YouTubie mam. Tutaj mam. Także napiszcie w komentarzach, czy jesteście Team Yennefer, czy Team Tris. Jestem Team Jaskier. Mamy jeszcze 5 minutek. To może puszczę wam pierwszy Witcher event, w jakim brałem udział. Tu są Włochy. O, tu jest. 500 000 wyświetleń już. 500 000 wyświetleń. Moja chyba ulubiona relacja. No to zdrówka, Jack, zdrówka. To lubię, jak materiały, przy których długo siedziałem, robią fajne wyświetlenie. To lubię. Persiwa z dreszcze. Jest i Geralt.
Witam was, kochani, bardzo...
Jest jeszcze stare studio. A tu dałem taką dużą nalepkę, bo chyba w tle miałem jakiś burdel z piżamą i coś było, że to takie wielkie dałem. Dobra, moi drodzy, 2 minuty. Tu też będzie taki zegar odliczania z horojków, niewykluczone. Nie wykluczone. A to już za chwileczkę, już za momencik. Zobaczymy, co to będzie. Na dzień dobry pewnie będzie jakieś klimatyczne, fajne interko, potem będzie 3 godziny pierdolenia i coś ciekawego. Całe 3 takie były. No, w serialu powinien być soundtrack, no to na pewno. Tylko, że tam jakieś jaja były, nie? Z tym Percivalem. Tam się skład zmienił. Odeszła ta, co mi się podobała. Coś tam było. Coś się skaszaniło niestety. 60 sekund. Teraz już wiem, jak się czujecie na premierach horrorków. A to ja też mogę coś napisać. A nie jestem zalogowany. Cóż to będzie? Oczywiście serdecznie zapraszam do zapoznania się ze wszystkimi moimi materiałami, które swego czasu były dedykowane wszystkim Wiedźminom. Z naciskiem właśnie na relacje eventu z Warszawy, relacje eventu z Włoch. No oczywiście moja niespoilerowa seria z klasycznymi historyjkami w myśl bestiariusza. No oczywiście sentymentalnie przez gry z Wiedźmina I, jak i z Wiedźmina II. Odpaliłbym wstępniaczek, ale zaraz się zacznie temat. Polska górą! Okej. No dobrze. Tak, przyznam się szczerze, że ja nie wiem, co tu robi ta zakładka. Ktoś mi chyba to polecił, bo jest bardzo fajny utwór. Ale tu ja tu nic nie mam poinstalowane tak naprawdę. I tak, faktycznie jest zegar. To teraz już wiecie, że to nie ja montuję w horrorkach ten zegar. Znaczy, ja go wymyśliłem, ja go stworzyłem i po prostu CD Projekt Red poprosił mnie, czy też mogą użyć ten zegar u siebie. Powiedziałem, mordę, nie ma problemu. 1 000 000 złotych się dogadamy. Ten zegar jest głośny, ała. Ała. No, staram się, pozdrawiam cię serdecznie. No i przypominam, moi drodzy, 26 lipca o 20 special i początek wielu atrakcji z tytułu 10-lecia kanału Światów Urojonych. Patrzcie, mamy u mnie 1000, tutaj jest 5000, także 1/5 u mnie. Yeah! Wiem, że jest prędkość X2, no ale nie no. Polak 901, witamy serdecznie. Dziękujemy. Z kim ma być co stream? Nie wiem, to się tak nazywa, że jak na streamie oglądasz streama, to się nazywa co-stream. Nie ja to wymyśliłem. Nie da się przyspieszyć, skoro on sam ogląda stream. W tej chwili oglądają, już nie wiadomo. A jest. Dobra. Oglądamy. Teraz mogę dać głośniej. Joker, suko, witamy. Wiem, że chodziło tylko o to, żebym to przeczytał. Będzie zapis streama? Oczywiście, że będzie. No i moi drodzy, no to było na tyle, nie? WitcherCon.pl
The quest
O co
has
chodzi z
begun.
napisami? Ja nie chcę napisów.
Destiny has brought us here.
Will you be joining me?
I'm in.
Prepare for epic reveals.
What have you done, Witcher?
O, porno będzie!
To our special guests.
Brilliant.
Burdel z elfkami. Robimy expa. Robimy level w burdelu.
Welcome
Daję.
to WitcherCon.
I koniec.
Winds howling.
Hello everyone around the world and welcome
Lucy!
to the first
To nie
ever
Lucy.
WitcherCon. My name's Julia Hardy
Nawet
and
nie
I'm
jest
going to be
ona.
your host for today. And I was trying to summarize and, put into words just what it means to me, to be the host of today's events.
Jako
But then I
ciekawostka,
realized if I did put it
to
into words, it would just be the
siostra
sound that only a dog could hear.
Toma.
So yeah, I'm just going to try and keep my
Tom
cool
Hardy.
today, but it is going to be a little bit challenging, not going to lie. Over the next few hours, I'll be taking you on a whirlwind journey through the world of The Witcher, together with Netflix
kamerą
and
w domu
CD Projekt Red.
publicznym
And I can
elfek.
promise you that there's going to be
Proszę.
tons of sneak peeks, never before heard stories, and special guests. Don't forget to share your favourite moments with us throughout the show,
Arabski.
though, using the hashtag WitcherCon. Let's just get started. I think that's what we need to do. Right, so we wouldn't be here without Andrzej Sapkowski, who obviously created the beloved Witcher world. Now, sadly, he can't join us in the studio today, but he did send us this personal message. So he says, "It gives me great pleasure to welcome all Witcher enthusiasts, fans of the
Rudy jest
books, the
monterem.
TV series and the video
Urynobot,
games to the
witamy.
virtual WitcherCon convention. I'm sure that we'll all have grand fun, and when these challenging times are finally over, we'll meet again at WitcherCon, which is it's kind of really sweet. Without further ado, let's get started. Kicking us off is our house band, the amazing Marcin Pibiwowicz and Percival, who you might know as the
Super.
musical masterminds responsible for the
Nie
Witcher
kojarzę.
game soundtracks. Take it away.
Nieprawda,
guys.
bo soundtrack robiła ekipa. No i super. Jesteśmy razem na koncercie. A Sapkoś już pewnie flaszkę wali. Boże, chyba piątą. No nie ma tej mojej miski. Nie, ale soundtrack. Wiedźmia 3 to jest jeden z najlepszych OST-ków w historii branży. Wyjemy razem. Może lepiej nie. Pozdrawiam cię, Kasiu. A tak pozdrawiam Kasię, to Basię też pozdrowię. Bądźmy uczciwi.
How epic was that? And with the musical mood set, it's time to tee up our first panel here at WitcherCon. And in true Witcher fashion, we are letting Destiny take the lead in this cast Q&A with a little bit of a twist.
A może porozmawiajmy
But
o
before we dive
kondycji
into the depth,
cyberpunka?
let me introduce our wonderful panelists.
Czy nikomu to
So,
dzisiaj na
joining the
rękę?
cast this season in the role of Lambert, a Witcher not to be messed with.
Wracamy do Wieśka.
How you doing, Paul?
I'm very good, thank you. It's going
Yeah?
to be fun. Looking forward to this.
I feel like
Boże,
I need
czy
to
można
shout
być
there,
bardziej
right there.
rudy?
Hey, how's it going? We can't wait to see what this enigmatic Nilfgaardian mage has in store
Co
for
tam
us in
robi mój
season
montażysta?
2. Fringilla herself, Mimi M. Kaiser.
Hello.
How you doing?
A to Yennefer,
It's really
patrzcie.
good to be here.
I'm slightly intimidated, actually.
Why?
I don't know. Just
Yennefer? Nie, Tris ma ciemne włosy.
Look at that.
Yennefer.
casual
To
mischief, love it.
stuprocentowa poprawność
Arthur Sorceress,
polityczna.
defender of the Northern Kingdoms and beloved by Geralt.
Czarnoskóra
Here's our Yennefer
Yennefer
Wegeberg and
i
your
rudy
Tarcza.
mężczyzna Tris.
Hello.
How you doing? I do feel.
A tej nie
I do
kojarzę.
feel like that we should give her a clap because we all know Yennefer loves a good clap.
Yeah! Woohoo!
Looking for it.
Gdzie są Azjaci, ja się pytam. Dlaczego doszło do tak bezczelnej dyskryminacji Azjatów?
Princess of Sintra, Child of Surprise, and now newest Witcher in training. It's our Siri, Freya Allen. Hey, Freya.
Ciri też jest z nami. Czuję, że będziemy się dzisiaj świetnie bawić, nie?
But wait, there's one more person we need to introduce. And finally,
Każda ma
the
jakiś
woman
taki
at the
inny
heart
dominujący
of the Witcher.
kolor kreacji.
Showrunner and
Wszyscy
executive
wyglądają jak
producer,
Power
Lauren
Rangers, jak
Schmidt.
zmrużycie oczy.
How you doing, Lauren?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm really nervous. This is not what I normally do.
To jest showrunner, bo jej facet to jest Blade Runner.
There's like all these cameras here, but you know, just having a bit of chat.
Ja cię będę sypał
It's fine, don't
ciekawostkami.
worry.
Great.
Okay, it's all good.
Gdzie jest
I
płotka?
think we should
Powinien
see
stać
what
z
cards
boku
have in
taki
store.
koń.
So welcome to the deck of destiny. I was told to shuffle them, but I'm wearing
powoli
white nails
srać,
today,
nie?
and this is really problematic. I'm not gonna lie. So basically, instead of kind of running through, a list of kind of generic questions,
Już hazard i
to our
karty.
esteemed guests, I'm going to be choosing fan questions from random from the deck of destiny. So
Jest
the contents of
kolegi.
this deck are as much a mystery to me as they are, but the cards are going to reveal a surprise or two, I think. So let's do the first
Lecę
card.
zakład,
Right,
że
let me get this the
Sapkowski
right
jest
way
już
round.
nieprzytomny, nie?
Okay, right, the first card. Okay. So this fan is clearly hungry for a little bit of a
Oni,
season 2 scoop. So Lauren, actually, why don't
Against
you take
Humanity
this one?
grają?
How did
Uno.
you approach the relationship between Geralt and the other witches at Kaer Morhen? Because, it's like the homestead. What's going on?
It is the homestead. So much of what we talk about in The Witcher is about family. And so that's where we started this relationship with. Henry had Henry Cavill. Maybe you've heard of him.
I don't think we need to use surnames at this point, honestly.
Pecetowiec, tyle wiem.
Henry actually comes from a family
Super
of brothers,
facet.
so it's something that we talked about
Jest tak
a lot.
super, że
and
nawet
what
gra
it is
Supermana.
like to be part of a big family. He also comes from a military family. So we talked a lot about the Witchers being almost like a military family. They all go out, they sort of do, they have their own adventures.
Zgadza się, Wesemir
It's
walczył w
really
Iraku,
dangerous.
był
You
na
never
dwóch
know
turach.
if your brothers are going to come back home or not. But when they do, when they reunite, every
Lambert
single
w Afganie z 3
winter,
razy.
that's when they get to relax and just be themselves. So one of the most fun things that we did, and Paul can speak to this a little bit too, is just to make sure that they feel like,
Urhara
like
się
actual
spocił,
brothers. They
nie?
roughhouse a lot. They give each other a lot of... Am I allowed to say curse words? A lot of stuff.
Nie wolno, to jest...
Oh, no.
Wiedźmin to jest
So no, they're
przecież
constantly
13
teaching each
plus
other. We just
PEGI,
want to
tam
make
nie ma
sure that
krwi i
it felt
bluzgów.
when they come together light and fun, like real brothers would be.
I'm very excited about it.
Tam zamiast madafaka mówią młoda foka, także.
Okay, so Paul, what
No
was
tak
it
to
like
jest, jak
to,
wszystkim zajął się
yeah,
Disney,
to
nie?
be kind of involved in that, to kind of be brought into Kaer Morhen and in that sort of Witcher, thrown in season 2?
It was quite surreal because
On jest bez kitu
I
magiem
actually
ognia,
watched
nie?
season 1, when it was
A nie,
released,
to jest
knowing
ten z
that I was
Harry'ego
gonna join it.
Pottera, tylko że dorósł,
Season
bo to już
two,
oni są wszyscy
which
starzy.
was,
Jak on się
which was
nazywał?
strange, but exciting.
Ten od Gretka
And,
Putina.
So to step into Kaer Morhen in season 2 and brought into the fold, and that way everyone was really welcoming, and like Lauren touched on there, Henry brought me into
Lambert,
the
prawdziwy
conversation about
patriota i
how,
poeta.
the Witchers were like a band of Navy SEALs. And yeah, and he would say, he would.
Did you bond? Do you have a bromance with Henry?
Well, he created an environment where we could have that on set where we would laugh and would make jokes, and it all fed into the scenes really
Ron,
well.
no,
And it was
dokładnie.
the idea that we would die for each other. We are family.
Nie wiem, co ma Ron
through
wspólnego
shared experiences.
z serialem Wiedźmin,
super
ale
adorable.
myślę, że
We'll
maczał
give it
w tym
into
it.
palce
It's good
Disney, nie?
Okay.
Say on the back of that.
Yeah.
So we weren't in any scenes together.
Yeah.
But I would normally be in the morning after
Cicho,
all the
Jennifer
guys had
mówi.
been in.
Did it have a certain
And
musk
you would get
in the
the
air?
stories of what
And it was really fun for me because I was like the only girl amongst these guys. And it was hysterical. Like getting to be with you guys all day.
It was great.
It was quite funny.
And walking on set, and Faye would always have this look because you knew she was going to be like teasing and joining in with the fun, and I'd walk in and I could just feel Freya looking. I'd look over. I'd go,
Mam nadzieję, że w tym roku, mordeczko. Będę informował miesiąc wcześniej.
How
Będę
we are in
informował
real
z
life is
wyprzedzeniem.
just like our characters.
I'm fully getting that vibe, actually. I'm fully getting that vibe.
Honestly, taking
Yeah.
Czujesz te wibracje? No to go wyłącz, no jesteś w studio!
Okay, so this one is for Anya. This one's for you, okay? So, which monster would you most like to kiss? No, I'm just kidding. That's not really the question. Which is the one trait? Sorry. Which is the one trait about your character's personality?
Może takie
that you
bezpłciowe klachy, jak w tym sezonie z przyjaciół,
I have to
tym
say-
ostatnim odcinku.
Where there's a will, there's a way with her. She is a survivor, and I love that about her. That would be my favourite.
Yeah.
There's lots. There's many traits I love.
A ja
we've
widziałem jej
become quite
piersi.
similar,
Nie wiem,
I
czy
think.
wiecie.
Yeah.
Nie chwaliłem się.
inform each other, I think.
Okay, next question. Right, okay. Do the actors keep character notebooks? And if so, what kind of independent exercises and
Że zapytajcie
explorations,
głównych
do you
aktorów
do
o
to
lore.
kind of refine
Bo
your
widziałem już kilka takich
characters?
odcinków i oni
think-
kompletnie nie wiedzą, w czym
So
biorą
it
udział.
might not be a physical book that we keep, a log or journey, but we do definitely always check in with each other in terms of where we are. And I do this thing a lot where, as an actor, I want to show my range and be like, do all these things, but actually to check in with each other and say, okay, we're not at that point of the story yet. We can fully immerse ourselves in what the truth
Rojo
is of
zazdy.
that. And so I think a lot of us are very conscious of constantly.
Tak, to jest na żywo, ja
checking
siedzę
in with
przed
each
nimi.
other to
Jestem w
say,
komentatorce.
well, we're here in this
Oni mnie nie
relationship,
słyszą na
or,
szczęście. Prosto ze
and
studia.
Even working with Eamon sometimes,
Los Angeles.
he'll do a scene, he'll be like, we're not there yet. No, that's next ep.
Of course he does.
Not there yet.
That's so
Level
epic.
of detail. Love it.
No. And I'm like,
Dajcie
I'm
coś
the only one
powiedzieć
in that
Tris,
scene.
no.
What do you mean we're not there? Excuse me.
Oh, amazing. Okay, we have another question now on the deck of destiny. Okay, so we've actually kind of struck gold here because this is actually a Gwent card from, the Witcher card game. So we can actually take a look here. We can see our Sunset Wanderers there. Look at that. Delightful. So this one, I believe it's for Paul. Can you give us a sneak peek of a monster from season 2?
Jennifer.
Well, we weren't really meant to be giving away
Cio Jennifer
any
mówi.
little sneak peeks.
Nie,
but
to jest Tris.
Why am I
Nie nauczę
here?
się.
Seeing as we've waited
Mieszają
so
z tymi
long
aktorami
because
co
of,
sezon.
because of the world stopping, I think it's only fair that we
Zawsze
give
podoba mi się
the first
niski
sneak
głos
peek, one of
Tris.
the first monsters in season 2. It's the Leshy.
Oof, let's take a look.
Pamiętacie moją historię, genezę Leszego? Była wykwitnie głupia. Jak każda, poza białą damą. Także tak, Leszy będzie nowym potworem w drugim sezonie. To już wiemy, na co poszło 99% budżetu.
Teasers with your teasers. It's ridiculous. There's a bit of a hand or something. What?
Yeah.
No, I saw a meme though.
I was expecting anyway, I'm not gonna.
Not yet.
Spoil. I was about to spoil.
Pokazali stopę
It
Tris
must be
i
really difficult not to spoil things. I'll be like, bleh.
wszystko jasne, o co chodzi z Leszem.
So, okay, this one's for you, Freya. Let me just turn over the card. Let's move along. Okay, so in the first season, this is obviously a fan question. In the first season, obviously, we kind of got glimpses of kind of Ciri's power, her power. But are we going to see like a whole load of it in season 2, or is it a bit more kind of like drip fed, do you think, over the course of the season, or is it just going to go all in? Because
I mean, for Ciri, whatever she possesses inside her is a very scary thing for her, and so she's not keen to start kind of confronting it. But I think
Kto to malował? Ona wygląda tam jak
as
Serena
time goes
Williams,
on and
pomalowana
she's
na biało.
introduced to the right people, she realizes that actually it's far more beneficial to try and control whatever this is that she has than run away from it.
Yeah.
Which is what she's been doing for a lot of the time. But yeah,
Jaki
no,
masz
you're
rozmiar
definitely gonna get to
buta?
see a
Bo
lot of
wyczuwam
Ciri's
serdeczną
potential in many
42.
different ways.
Yeah, I think actually also I just want to draw attention to obviously we've got some amazing fan art that's kind of happening behind. So if you actually take a look at this one, this is all the way from Hungary. I mean, I have to say, as actors, how often
Główna
I mean, you don't
prezenterka
get
jest
drawn
głodna,
when
jak
you do other
usłyszeliście.
shows or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Dajcie jej
it must be really fun
przekąski.
to like kind of see all this art.
There's some amazing artwork. Wow, yeah. And even just seeing that, like, just a reminder, there's so much as well. Yeah.
It's just amazing to see how many people are inspired. And specifically what characters they're inspired by.
Yeah.
Zaproście na scenę jakiegoś
obviously the show's
mężczyznę.
called The Witcher, but it's been fun as
Gdzie jest
the person
Henry?
who sits back and has sort of been having these characters in my mind for so long
Henry
to
przyjdzie,
see how
mruknie,
different
powie
people all over the
kurwa i
world
pójdzie.
relate to, all of these characters.
And I've never known
Ale
so much
poetyk.
anticipation around something that they haven't seen yet.
Wy też lubicie
They
stópki?
haven't seen,
No,
seen
to widzisz.
Lambert yet.
But we know Lambert already, though.
Yeah.
And we've been wanting to see him.
And it's very strange as an actor to have images drawn of your character before they've even seen. And it's very flattering as well. But it just shows how much love for the show there is out there.
There is a lot of love.
Do they capture your hair? Well,
I think their hair would have its own gallery. I think, and we owe that look, I suppose, to the pause. I just didn't cut my hair because I couldn't. So yeah, it was.
Włączymy się w bólu.
It was interesting when the head of hair and makeup just said, "Don't touch a thing, just come in." So yeah, call it the COVID look.
No nie no, wyobrażasz sobie grać Tris krótko ściętą w mordę.
Like so much to look forward to in season 2. But I think the next one's going to be for you, Anya. Let's turn a card. Right. Okay. So before we kind of get into this, actually, I just wanted to point out there are some beautiful. Look at these Gwent cards here. There's Yennefer, you know, kind of being an absolute badass as usual.
No, wreszcie
and Ciri
te
as
są
well.
super.
It's amazing.
Te są genialne.
Yeah, what was the most exciting thing about, you know, portraying Ciri and Yennefer's relationship? Because now we're kind of getting to the meat of it. It's good. I'm excited.
Well, we've never worked together, so we're so close, but we've never acted together, which was bizarre. Because we knew each other so well, because we went through the whole of the first season together. We were living, you know, so close to each other. So the most exciting thing for me was just getting
Oglądajcie, nie przeszkadzajcie sobie.
with Freya and see what that dynamic was. And then that informs our relationship. Sorry?
Was it all right?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
It was amazing. She's amazing. And, you know, her character goes on such a journey. Like, from what I saw in season 1 to, you know, get to work with her at a point in this season, which is completely different, is, you know, is a joy.
Aww. It's so adorable and wholesome. I love it. Next card, I think. Sorry. Right, here we go. Mimi, let's take a look at this frown art of Fringilla. It's really poetic. Look at it. It's called The Mist. So I think this next question is for you. So, yeah, what was the most challenging part about playing your character in the second series? Now that you know kind of more about
Wszystko zostajemy w temacie kart, o co wam chodzi.
I love her. I absolutely love her. We call her Fringy for short. And that's when we're feeling really endearing towards her. I would genuinely have days where I would read the scripts of things that she does sometimes, and my heart would break for her. Because I think there is a thing when you're an actor playing a character, you fall in love with them. And everything they do, even the worst things, you completely sympathise and want to cover them and be like, it's okay, we're going to get through that awful thing you did.
Well, I suppose you sort of have to, right, to understand the character, you have to understand the motivations.
Zło.
Yeah, and also like the pain that you must be in to do that. And then I'd be like, oh my God, put the sword down.
You become like a best friend to your character. And anyone who messes with them, you're like,
excuse me.
No.
Yeah.
Don't talk about them like that.
So true. And your character's allies as well. So
Yeah.
even if an ally's not there, you're like, you better hold on. Because I understand them and
I've listened to their souls.
that's true, you get very close. Sometimes it will come to do
Nie no, po prostu czuję się, jakbym spotkał psiuły w przymierzalni w centrum handlowym, nie?
It comes from the human element in the show as well. Every character has,
Nie,
you know,
źle.
in the real world, everyone's represented by somebody in the show, I think.
Yeah. And I've definitely had moments in my life where I think, that wasn't a good decision. But you have to live with it, don't you?
Yeah.
It's about that arc. And also completely trusting that journey and trusting that you don't need to know how it's resolved now.
Yes.
That was something that I kept having to remind myself of, thinking, we haven't seen that side or we haven't been there yet, and just trusting that right here, right now is really important for where she's going to go, wherever that may be. That was really great, you know, when you're doing a sort of longer journey with somebody.
Amazing. Okay, so this question I think seems like a good one for Freya. This one's for you. So are we going to see any training sequences this season, are we? Because, you know, you're not just suddenly a Witcher and then you're amazing. There's a lot of hard work involved.
There's a lot of hard work that's involved. Yes, you are. It was one of the things I was most excited about for season 2, because I love doing all that. I love the stunt department. We have the best people involved with that, and they're so much fun and like get the best out of you. But yeah, no, Ciri begins training, and that actually becomes one of her main kind of drives. She's very determined, and she really wants to become like a great fighter and become a Witcher.
Ja tu przyszedłem na rundkę Gwinta.
Hard because she's got certain brotherly figures around her who are a little bit annoying. And
That's every
you know,
brother, I think, in the whole world.
Yeah, and Geralt's being a little bit, you know, not quite letting her reach the potential she wants to, which is very frustrating for her. But yeah, no, we actually have a funny story, me and Paul, because there was this one, we do this one scene, and Lambert comes in, and he is meant to slice this dummy.
You're going with that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's meant to slice this dummy. And each time he was just missing. And I tried to hold it together in the scene, but I just couldn't help but burst into laughter, because every time it was just failing. We were trying to continue on with the scene, but it just
Kto akceptował ten scenariusz, nie? Czy ktokolwiek słyszał o Hitchcocku?
Frey is very aware that the camera
Być
is
bomba,
over her shoulder.
Henry,
Not
ciekawostki,
getting her
cosplay, figurki, cycki,
Frey-
nie,
Frey-
wybuchy,
Frey's
nie,
trying not to
scenariusz.
eye contact
Nie,
with me.
pierwsza część panelu, 48 minut będziemy sobie gadać, tak. Ale o czym? Nie, no tak, jak fajnie było, nie? Ale o czym fajnie było? Jak się grało? Aha, dobrze.
And then they shout cut and she
Dobrze.
goes, finally.
To jest świetne,
This is
zróbmy to.
great, although difficult, I presume, for acting when someone's totally...
Oh, it really was a joy, really. We had a lot of fun during that sequence. And we're very competitive in a fun way, offset anyway. I mean,
and then it came to a scene where I had to chop the head off of one, and the AD goes, you better beat Paul. And I literally do first take, and the head goes flying off, and I was
Amazing.
like, can't wait to tell one.
I think we've actually got a picture of you guys training.
Oh,
don't
yeah?
you? Yeah. Let's have a look. I mean, look at that. Was that after that
Don't
particular
mess with
scene
me.
you were talking about, where you like were laughing in
this
his
is it.
face?
This
You're
is
like,
it.
thanks. Ruined my day of acting.
No, it was good fun.
A to
I mean,
Ciri i
how
Tris
was the
pierwsze
weapons
spotkanie
training? How
było.
did you enjoy it?
No, I really enjoyed it. I mean, as a kid, I think one of my first memories, I was about 2 or 3, in our local pound shop, they had those plastic swords, you know, they used to fall apart after like a day.
Yeah.
But I used to always get one when I was in that pound shop, and I used to pretend that I was running around my garden into the bushes, like.
You're living your childhood fantasy right now.
Now it's like a profession.
You get paid for it.
Yeah,
Someone's
so
giving you money to
Yeah.
live out your childhood dream.
30 years later.
Life suddenly came together. Good for you.
No, it's it's great fun, and you know, like Fred touched on there.
Masterk, witamy
the
serdecznie.
department, the fight choreography, you know, it's top, and it's a great atmosphere when you go into the stunt rehearsal, because it's a load of big kids that love doing what they do, and you get
Baweta.
Yeah.
it's great.
So I guess we've got
Bagieta chyba, kurwa.
throw anything to you for a little while. So I think you're all right. You're just enjoying it, like whatever. It's totally fine. So we've got a lot
w
of
niewytłumaczony
characters,
sposób świetnie
announced
się
for
bawię.
season 2, and obviously you know yourself as a big fan of the original material. Which one are you most excited to see? Are you allowed to have a favourite though? Because maybe you're not. I don't know how that works.
That's like asking me my favorite child. That's really hard.
I mean, but everyone has one. They deny it, but they do.
Okay, I have one.
A favourite child?
Don't tell my sons. No, I mean,
Wariatka jebana.
we are getting to see Dijkstra for the first time in sort of the Redanian kingdoms. I know a lot of fans are excited to meet Philippa for the first time. Codringer and Fen, Rience, Nenica. There's, I mean, so many. But I would have to say Vesemir is the one I'm looking most forward to our audience meeting. You know, Vesemir is so integral to the story that we're telling this season. Obviously, we're returning to Kaer Morhen for the first time. And in a season that is about Geralt becoming a father to Ciri, it felt so important to meet who his father figure was. And you end up with this multi-generational story, because Vesemir and Ciri have a story as well. And it does start to feel like, oh, all of these people are meant to be interacting and learning from each other and fighting with each other. I mean, it doesn't all go well all the time.
No, family does.
But it's and Kim Bodnia, who plays Vesemir, is
Sorry, the casting on that. I just have to small aside. Oh my God, perfection.
perfection.
Like you're like obviously it's him. I mean, who else could it be?
Yes, I just today was watching an episode, and it's a scene that we're kind of struggling with.
Wy się męczyłyście?
Entire day to shoot, and it was just
Wy!
Vesemir and Ciri in a Kaer Morhen lab. And we were struggling with it so much because it's such an emotional scene and so much happens. And I have to say, probably my favorite scene of the season. It is so beautifully acted and glorious. And I cry, and I see it a lot. So
I sort of want to know more, but I don't want to know more because it's just making it harder. So yeah, I'm not going to lie. I do feel like the deck of Destiny hasn't disappointed, and I don't want to kind of push like our luck a little bit. But to be honest with you, I just want to keep asking you guys questions if that's all right. So I think we'll go for another round. Ooh. So all right. Oh, okay. Well, this isn't useful. There's like a J here, and I don't know if that's like a joker. Is it a joke? Oh no, it's going to be okay. All right. Yeah, it's Jaskier.
There he is.
There he is. Look at him, his little sweet face.
Jaskier.
And I believe that, Joey can actually join us right now.
Hey gang, my name is Joey. I play Jaskier in The Witcher, which I
Boże, jak mu jest dobrze w brodzie, nie?
And you're all massive nerds.
On wygląda
I'm very
męsko.
sorry that I can't be there in person today. I'm actually working on another project, hence the beard. But I'm here to answer some of your questions that have been forwarded onto me.
To nagrał, nie robi tego na żywo.
And also give you a little sneak peek, a little surprise at the end. This is from Sally. Hi, Sally.
Hi.
Dear Joe.
Nie jesteś Sally.
Oh my God,
to nawet
you're
nie
amazing. And there is no question. Who vetted these? I feel this one is from John. Hi, John. Dear Joey, will there be a hat in season 2? Gotta let the hat thing go, guys. It's getting weird now. That being said, there might be a small amount of hat in it for about 47 seconds. Finally, we've got one. Oh, this is a lovely one. It's got lots of stickers on it. It's got a bit of crayon. Hi, Joey. Hiya. Is it a burden playing someone as talented and funny and brilliant and talented as Jaskier?
To akurat dobre. Roja, ale to ty dzwonisz.
And that's from Henry Cavill. Henry, did you send... You know what? I'm just going to ignore this and the drawings that you've done. There's 2 little stick figures there. And underneath it says, best friends. I'm just going to...
Ja pierdolę, to już ponki mają lepsze skecze.
Finally, hopefully you've been waiting for this for a while, I know, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. I'm going to give you a little sneak preview of Jaskier's new look in season 2. He's
będzie kolejny sneak peek, moi drodzy. Będzie kawałek, kurwa, bucika. I koniec! Tak jak było kawałek dłoni Leszego, a tak naprawdę była babcia scenarzysty.
There he is. What a moron. What's he doing? That was actually taken, that's just a photo of me from my pub, local pub. You can tell because everyone around me is incredibly bored.
Zdecydowanie teraz lepiej się to ogląda.
I cannot wait to share this season with you later in the year. But until then, I'm just gonna go and
Boże, kończcie to. To jest kurwa straszne. To jest straszne.
Lots of love, everyone. Take care.
Bez kita, nie.
Much like his character,
Jest bardziej cringe'owe niż Gąciec.
Entertained, yeah. But seeing season 2 Jaskier made me even more kind of like curious. So I feel like Deck of Destiny, we definitely need to turn to you once more and show me what you got. All right, okay. Right.
A mogłem sobie grać w Green Down,
So
no.
this one says, which scene or sequence was the most fun to film?
O, pytanie o
Why
Tristio.
don't you take this one?
Okay. I have to say probably the training sequence with Freya, Lambert, Cohen and Ciri. I remember it took a couple of weeks. It was quite hot summertime, and we had all the fake snow everywhere, and it was quite strange to have that combination to be cold in the boiling hot. And it was just so much fun. I think that was a real camaraderie starting to kick in, because it was quite near the start of the shoot, I think. And again, in the spirit of competition, I made a passing comment about how much I like sour sweets. And Freya said, I bet I can eat more than you. So So I took it
love
as a
this.
challenge. So I'm online trying to find the most sour sweets I can find. I'll bring them to set the next day and cut to Freya with so
Pozdrawiam,
many
Mieszko.
sour sweets.
Pozdrawiam,
Yes,
ale coś mi
plays
się
Cohen.
wydaje, że
His eyes are
twoja
streaming.
przyjaciółka cię nie będzie
I'm
sama, nie?
coughing,
Po
she
tym
wins.
streamie.
Really?
Pozdrawiam serdecznie, cieszę się, że mogłem pomóc.
And I literally, my cheeks look like a
Bulging.
yeah, but
The most important thing is that you won, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she did have to go to set with a blue tongue, so I wasn't very popular with the makeup department.
Oh, it sounds like a blooming holiday camp. This is great. I'm fully into it. Okay, next question. Right. Okay, so here's a kind of fun one for you. So, show Witcher fans
No.
a collectible figure. So I believe
Figurki.
actually this is Anya, one for you. You're gonna introduce this one.
So, Dark Horse produce high-end figures.
Dark
that
Horse
came out
dobre
at the end of this
figurki
year.
robi, to nie powiem.
But we have a teaser for you now, I believe.
O, kolejny.
Wondrous.
And if you stay tuned, you'll be able to see Yennefer's soon.
Ooh, yeah.
Już mam
And
tyle
so,
figurek
I believe
Geralta,
the
że-
pre-sale date is 23rd of July for that. So mark that in your diaries. There.
Preorder!
Massive-
Szybko! Preorder!
Okay, right. One final card for you guys from the deck of destiny. So let's make it count. So the card is asking us to reveal your favourite photo of Ciri and Geralt.
Wreszcie,
And,
send
I'm a
nudes,
little
no.
bit ahead, I think, of you guys here, as I've a little surprise for you. Netflix.
Dostała
can you
informację, że
reveal my
paznokciami
new
tak nie
favourite
stukała w
photo,
karty, bo jest
actually?
przebicie.
Boom.
Wow.
Look at that.
Taka płaska
That's
dupa.
amazing.
Henry.
I think more importantly, I think, for everyone is
I
that
think
those
there's
other
a-
words at the bottom there.
There's a date listed here.
Oh my God.
Look at that.
O,
Didn't even know.
Didn't you know?
This is a surprise to everyone here. December 17th,
nie mogę,
we are
błagam.
doing The Witcher Season 2.
You've made our Christmas. Look at that. That's it. Brilliant.
Now we
Witcher
can-
Christmas.
We have an answer for people now.
Yes, we finally can answer people when they ask us.
Yeah, I know. That's amazing.
I mean, Lauren, obviously, you know, I want to know everything about season 2, but I mean, don't spoil anything, but can you tell me more about, you know, Ciri and Geralt's journey, but without spoiling anything, but can you tell me everything, but without spoiling
Właśnie,
Without
jak
spoiling
było w
anything,
Białym
we'll tell you
Stoku
everything that we've
Yeah.
done.
na
Yeah,
wakacjach,
of
no?
course.
Yeah. Shoot.
You know, obviously at the end of season 1, we have what I think is one of the sort of most emotional.
Popijawa, no
we've
wiadomo,
done,
nie?
Which is Geralt and Ciri finding each other after they've both been searching all season. And we get
To
this
nie
super
wiedzieli,
emotional
gdzie
hug
mają,
between
kurde,
them,
swoje te?
And it seems like, you
Przyczepy?
know, a father figure and daughter figure and everything's going to be perfect at that
Lol.
point. Except for they've never met. And so it was really fun to start season 2 thinking about, well,
A
they're not
wpadliście
family
na pomysł,
yet.
żeby
How do they
przyczepy
grow to be
aktorskie
one?
dać koło siebie
What do you
wreszcie.
do
Dobrze,
if
bardzo
you
się
are
cieszę.
a person like Geralt is, who has sworn he doesn't need anyone in the world whatsoever. And then he's presented with a girl who's now solely in his care. And we have Ciri, who's
Na razie
used to
jedyne,
being
co
under
było
care
ciekawe,
of
to
people, but
figurki,
now
mimo
has
że
basically
figurka
been
była chujowa.
running from everyone for an entire
Zajebiście.
season, and now being told that, you know, this person is going to take care of you. And so it was really fun to start season 2 kind of with them a little
Lekkiej
uncertain
niepewności.
about how to be with each other.
Lekkiej niepewności zaczyna się drugi sezon. Ja już mam kolosalne obawy.
Just bonded at the very beginning.
Yeah, and it's the reality.
Drugi
of the
sezon zaczyna się od
situation
lekkiej
is
niepewności.
Ciri has a lot, like, struggles to trust people after her
Ciri,
journey
numer
to
buta,
Geralt.
jedziesz.
And so it's not easy
Z
for her
kumplami
to just
tutaj mamy
open up, and also she's got a lot of
ciężkie
things
ciężkie
that she
kwoty
doesn't want to open
obstawione.
up about. And so it's kind of that dynamic of Geralt trying to understand this girl, and she's resisting it a little bit. But Geralt's not always going about it the right way, and it's that kind of, sometimes they're knocking heads, but eventually they do become, you see them become a team, and that's when it's like so lovely.
Andrzej
And
by
there's a
przynajmniej
scene at the
jakąś
end of,
scenę jebnął, nie?
episode 1 that's probably one of my
Wymiotowałby,
favourite
nie wiem,
scenes that
przewrócił
we
się,
shot.
coś tego.
Which
Obraził
is, like, you
się
just-
albo
you see
kogoś.
a glimmer of what
Coś by
their
się działo.
relationship could become,
Byłby jakiś puzzle.
and the trust that could be forming between the two of them, which I think is beautiful.
Yeah, that's such an amazing scene.
Ale podoba mi się, jak zręcznie, w sposób wyrachowany unikają tematu cyberpunka. To jest...
And it was Freya who
Ja tylko po to tu przyszedłem.
the Brits don't really say okay, we say all right. And I'm like, oh, like it's probably in the script 100 times. Like, okay. And it's the final word of that scene. And it is oddly so powerful because it is an acceptance of the two of them having to start to trust each other. And it's just
Getting a bit emotional.
beautiful. It's so beautiful.
No, it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. Oh, it's ever
So excited!
knowing everything and not knowing
Yay!
everything, then being surprised, but also knowing everything.
To jest zajebiste.
Exactly.
Ale ostatnio tak jest. Dying Light, te wszystkie Cyberwire. I'm so excited. Next, Memories from the Path, Part 1. Later, Geralt of Trawienie. Geralt będzie mówił o trawieniu. Ale mamy z głowy sesję odchudzającą, talię przeznaczenia. 37 minut pierdolenia o niczym nie. O niczym! Cringe, suche żarty. Czarnoskóra, Yennefer i męska Tris. Gwint, w którego nikt już nie gra. Super. Czekałem na to.
Set in a dark and twisted world full of witchers, monsters, knights and sorceresses. Gwent is a card game where armies clash
Dziękuję,
and you
pozdrawiam.
as commander lead the charge. You engage in battles divided into rounds. To win a round, you need to gain more points than your opponent. To win a battle, you need to claim victory in 2 out of 3 rounds.
A skąd wywalili artylerię, ta gra nie ma
Trust
sensu.
me, it won't be. Behold your favorite characters, beautifully drawn and animated. Outsmart your opponents on the battlefield and expand your collection of cards just by playing. Powerful armies and mighty commanders, tough choices and brutal consequences. This is the world of the Witcher, and it's at your fingertips. So see you on the battlefield.
Battlefield? Ktoś powiedział Battlefield? O Jezu. Dużo osób gra, tak? Dobrze. Cieszę się.
I mean, note to self, obviously get myself some Gwent cards, but also note to panel, I desperately need more information about season 2. I mean, you can't leave us hanging like this after that last reveal. Look, Freya, okay, come on, Freya, you've got some juicy what can you give me, please? Just
I think I can help you out there. As you know, Ciri's going through some pretty serious life changes next season, but the magic and drama aren't just unfolding on screen. Join me as we take a little peek behind the scenes.
O, to jest ten dział dla informatyków i programistów. Sploty i układy
Very
sceny.
happy with season 1 because it was so well received and so many people contacted me telling me how much they loved it. So, you know, I was just over the moon.
I was thrown into season 1. I was very new to it all and really had to just learn.
Powinna tak odwrócić głowę, jak w Eksorcyście, nie? Tak do tyłu. Ale jest ten gościu, co robi te zmodyfikowane trailery śmieszne. Boże, ona jest ładna. Nie, Rojo, to makijaż.
I'm literally just running through the woods constantly. Always just running away from everyone. And I feel like this season you really see her grow.
I have favorite scenes from season
Jest
1,
okej.
but I loved my whole journey with Yennefer.
Zdecydowanie lepiej niż ta Egipcjanka. Jaka Egipcjanka, Rojo? No ona, nie?
And so I'm just excited for people to see everyone's hard work.
I mean, that's what we do it for. We do it for the fans, and the fact that gaming fans loved it as well as the new fans that were coming on board was just brilliant.
Can't wait actually for people to see this season.
When it comes to the Witcher series, extraordinary talent isn't just on screen, it's behind the scenes too. In this installment of the Humans of the Continent series, Netflix's master armorer Nick Jeffries shows us just what goes into making the weapons of the continent. Have a look for yourself.
Usiądź na mej twarzy.
Hi, I'm Nick Jeffries. I'm the master armorer for The Witcher. I design the weapons for The Witcher. I'm also in charge of the armory department.
Wreszcie ktoś ciekawy, nie? Wreszcie! Po 42 minutach! Boże, wreszcie coś ciekawego! Co tu się dzieje? Ja nie pomyliłem streamów? Dokładnie! Zamorduj wszystkich! Wszystkich ze studia! Wjedź tam! Możesz użyć tego.
This was a Nilfgaard sentry who unfortunately was a little bit rude to Yarpen, so he cut his wrist off and he cast it in bronze.
If you had to pick, which monster would you fight and which of your weapons would you use?
I'd fight the smallest monster.
Wreszcie! Dali jakiegoś zgreda starego, ślicznego zbrojmistrza. Po 43 minutach. Jaką broń bym wybrał? Kurwa, Colta 45 i koniec. I położył wszystko, wszystkich do tyłu i do przodu, nie? Boże, jaki wypadek przy pracy. Co? Im się coś udało. Wróćmy do tego pana z piwnicy, proszę. Ale całego Sapkowskiego wyrzucił do śmieci, nie? Nieświadomie. Gościu zbrojnisz, mistrz broni białej, zbrojmistrz, płatnerz. Wszystko. Kowal. No i co byś wybrał, nie? Colta 45. Koniec. Możemy się rozejść. Możemy się rozejść. Ściśle tajne. To nie możemy. Kurwa, nie może, przepraszam.
For over 13 years, the Witcher games have captured the imagination of gamers worldwide. Next up, the developers behind the successful series discuss
Gry cieszą się powodzeniem od 13 lat. Zero słowa o książkach. No w sumie książki powstały na podstawie gier, no to czego się dziwić. Często tak jest.
Hello everyone, we are here today to talk to you a little bit about
O, super, porozmawiamy sobie o czymś.
our Witcher games.
Świetnie.
So for everyone who might not know what our Witcher games are, essentially you are playing as the Witcher, Geralt of Rivia, and you are exploring the world of the
Pozdrawiam
Witcher.
serdecznie.
You basically do your job and you experience many different stories that we also refer to as quests. So those are the missions you undertake in this world. I work as a lead acting quest designer in Warsaw, and with me is Błażej.
Hello, I'm Błażej Augustynek. I'm the acting lead quest designer for
Piłem z jednym i z
Kraków,
drugim.
Kraków
Spoko
studio.
mordy.
I've worked on The Witcher and Cyberpunk, been in the studio for 7 or 8 years.
Czy możesz powiedzieć coś więcej o cyberpunku,
So
proszę?
my name is Philip Weber, and then I just really want to get into the first of the topics that we want to talk about today. And that is essentially what makes our games unique. Since, there's many different ways of exploring and experiencing The Witcher. There are, of course, the original books by Andrzej Sapkowski.
Kogo?
And then there's also, of course, the Netflix series.
No, Netflix
so we want to
to
talk a little bit about what makes these games special.
Well, games as a medium are very different from books. That goes without saying. For us, it's important because it allows us to immerse you as the player into the world in a way that any other medium cannot do. Which is really exciting as an opportunity for a game developer. Also, we've set the games in the timeline after the books, which gives us basically the whole world as a blank canvas, right? In which we can tell our own stories. The challenge there, though, is to make these stories feel like
Mikey Bird, Mike.
that world, like they are part
Mikey
of it.
Bird.
Like if Andrzej Sapkowski were to make a game, that would be the game he would make. That's our hope, at least, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and there's lots of questions we basically had to answer. So as an example, when the first Witcher game was developed, it was started in 2002, and basically it wasn't even clear yet if we're even gonna play as Geralt of Rivia. Because basically the thought was maybe we could make our own Witcher. So for the first few years, basically, we tried to make it so you can make your own Witcher and you're exploring new lands. But then over and over, kind of the question came, the game is called The Witcher. Everyone who loves the books really
You
likes...
know who The Witcher is, right?
Exactly, it's Geralt of Rivia. Everyone wants to
Yeah.
play as the Witcher. So, you know, at some point, I think everyone kind of realized, yeah, we want to be Geralt of Rivia, we want to be the Witcher. And then we
Najgorszy
basically
system walki w
continued
historii gier
the
wideo.
story, and we made up our
Najgorszy.
own, you know, continuation of
Nie
whatever
spotkałem się z
happens,
gorszym.
and introduced back all of these characters that people actually grew to love. Alright, so we already talked a little bit about how we started, you know, when we decided to make Geralt of Rivia, but maybe let's go even further back to the start. How do we even start, you know, thinking about these stories that we then turn into video games?
No
So,
chyba pan Andrzej?
Obviously you start by reading the books and, you know, getting to know the lore, etc., but it's deeper than that, because we have to go to the inspiration for our own inspiration, which means to all the stuff that inspired the author of the series. And this is also inspiring for us, and we use it to build our worlds in the game, right? So it's kind of like a postmodern deconstruction almost of fairy tales and all the Slavic mythology that we use, or for the case of Beauclerc, we also use, sorry for my French, chanson de geste of Roman mythology. So for us, we use all of that as inspiration, and the deconstruction comes from the fact that we put real people like you and I into that fantasy world filled with elves and monsters and and all that stuff. I was trying to say chimeras, but I said orcs, whatever.
No,
there's no orcs in
the
in the Witcher world. I wanted to say chimeras. Anyway, all of that is also interesting on the meta level, because the way this world actually works, like in the lore, is it has real people from our world, like our physical world, in the fantasy world. This all happened in an event that is called the Conjunction of the Spheres, where two planets aligned and the people from our world were transported into the fantasy world that Geralt lives in. So it's interesting on a meta level, because the inspirations are actually kind of made manifest in the world.
Well, also these inspirations are kind of important when it comes to the kind of themes and like general topics we want to explore. So often, essentially, when we come up with quests, we often look at, you know, let's say, the world that Geralt moves around in. So as an example, in The Witcher Wild Hunt, Geralt explores Velen, which is a part of Redania, and in this time it's war-torn. So of course we want to tell lots of stories that have to do with these topics. So we basically, when we come up with quests, we think, you know, what themes are interesting for us to explore, what interests us, and then what interests, as an example, the audience. So for sure, as an example, if we would tell stories about a war-torn land, as an example, I as a quest designer would say, I think I have an idea, I want to make a story about, let's say, civilian suffering in this world. And then we essentially start doing our research, because we essentially always say, we're making mature games, we tell mature stories. And that doesn't mean that it has to have, you know, gore and violence and sex. Of course, you know, that can always be part of it. But what it actually means is that we really want to tell about topics that we think are important, that are interested to us, and that essentially make people, you know, think when they play, and that make them feel when they play, and that are, you know, maybe sometimes a little bit challenging. So this is often for us actually the first thing to start, essentially to really go, we don't just want to tell stories of, you know, a witcher walking around the land and slaying monsters.
Oni mi
Because that's not
tłumaczą
what we want to
Wiedźmina.
do, that's not what Sapkowski did, but really to say, what is actually an interesting theme that, you know, is worth exploring. And that's basically our rule for almost every single quest, where we just ask, why does that story need to be told? And if, you know, we can answer all of these questions, then we usually have a good start for a quest.
But there's also a technical challenge to that, right? Because
Sprawdzę,
you just
Shiro.
said war-torn land, right? And this
Obiecuję.
puts a
Z
mental
przyjemnością.
picture in my mind that kind of fills in the details, and I have this picture 100% rendered in my head. Now, the thing is, in a game where we want to immerse you, we actually have to do all that work. We as a team, not we as quest designers, but the whole studio has to work on rendering this war-torn land in painstaking detail, pretty much, because it's environment artists, it's FX artists, it's level designers, it's all that stuff that we need to actually physically create in the game, so that it looks like a war-torn land. So all the details that in a book you can kind of fill in with an offhand sentence, we do have to render to make it immersive, right? So there's this technical thing.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, we also have to do it in a realistic way, because we're always saying we don't want to make a stage on which our stories take place. We actually want to create a world. And essentially, if you're supposed to be immersed in these worlds, you're also supposed to feel that it's real. So I can just give one example. In The Witcher Wild Hunt, you're exploring the city of Novigrad, which, you know, fans of the books might already know and love. And we basically had to do tons and tons of research, you know, our concepts teams, our environment art teams, to really see that the city shouldn't just look like any medieval city, but also it needs to function. You know, the city is a big merchant city, so it needs a really big harbor. It, as an example, has a very famous harbor. And it needs, you know, proper walls around it with lots of different gates, because Novigrad is a free city in the state of Redania, so of course it needs lots of defense. And then we also, you know, had to think about how do these people feed themselves?
The what do they eat question.
Exactly,
right?
What do they eat? So
the
actually,
basic question when you world build, basically.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, it's not just that, yeah, there's a city and now there's forests full of monsters. No, actually, it's a city. So of course it is surrounded by, you know, lands of fields that live different weeds grow there. And then of course, you know, we actually had people checking what kind of weeds would they grow in different parts of the world, because of course, you know, the temperature matters. And all of these details. Because the thing is, we don't necessarily have to tell you, oh, all of this thing is there, you know, the infrastructure, so the world works. But if they are not there, you just notice that it's missing. You just feel like I'm walking around some artificial world, but what you're supposed to feel like that you are Geralt of Rivia living in the world of The Witcher.
You take all of that subconsciously, you take it all in subconsciously, and then by just way of being there, it gives a much bigger gravitas and depth to all the stories because they happen in your mind, real world, right, as a player.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's cool.
All right, so we talked about what kind of things inspire us when we start to come up with stories. But now let's also maybe just quickly give people a glimpse on all the challenges we actually face in making these stories into video games.
So one challenge that might be not that obvious
nie usuwajmy tej zakładki, ona się jeszcze może przydać.
Is the point of view that the player has in the game. Because in a game you're fixed to one point of view, which is the main character. And you can't do cuts like you would do in a movie where you show actions and events happening in a different place, different time sometimes. You are focused on just this one character and how he sees the world. So basically you're traveling through the world with like a point of view camera almost. This is a storytelling challenge, definitely, because we have to make all the important events happen in front of the character, and this means we have to justify their presence in these events, right? We do sometimes in the games, Witcher 1, Witcher 2, Witcher 3, allow you to play as a different character, so that will be the example of Ciri, for example, who you get to play as like an exciting change of pace from time to time, to see how the story develops from her point of view, because arguably she is the main character of The Witcher 3, right? You play as Geralt, but you can't help her, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think she's kind of all of our favorite, so we all like Ciri very much. Well, the thing is also, we talked about, you know, that we create an open world and not just a stage, but it also kind of creates these challenges for actually making a story then, because usually if you want to tell a story, you know, you want to go from A to B to C, and usually you want to make the choices
Oni już doszli do tego, co zainspirowało ich inspirację do inspirowania innych, by na bazie inspiracji z inspiracją inspirować.
And then, you know, our game and our stories, they still kind of need to work. So it is actually often
Ej, takiego lania wody to nawet ja nie odpierdalałem na studiach.
Whatever action the player can take, story still works, and
A
sometimes
mam z
the
tego
story
doktorat.
knows. Sometimes a character might,
that's very
complain
satisfying,
if
right?
you're rude to them, and I think that's always
Yeah.
it's always nice when you can actually, as a player, I think find these little spots. But of course, also it's kind of one challenge that we have is to not make you want to run away.
A ja myślałem, że
We make
początek
you
był
wanna
nudny.
follow that
Boże,
story
nie,
along.
wróćmy,
Usually,
wróćmy.
When we
Tam
can
przynajmniej
tell that, wow,
były ładne
people request
dziewczyny.
people, just they start looking around and they start running away. And probably something's also wrong with our quest, and we should change our approach a little.
This might actually happen when you present choices that are not intuitive for the player at the point where they are presented to you, because as
Dajcie tego gościa z 45. Dokładnie.
What would be the natural reactions not only for the player but also for Geralt when presented with a problem, right? It really feels bad when you want to approach a certain situation from a certain in a certain way, and the game doesn't present you with that option. That's not fun. So what we need to do is we need to anticipate what the player might want to do, and then when that choice presents itself, it feels really good because you can actually do that thing that logically made sense to you, right?
And also, we kind of have to give you
Tak,
the power
tak.
to be able to
Myślałem,
make
że
those choices. So all three of the
jestem
Witcher
takim
games are
reżyserem
RPGs,
z Los
so role-playing
Angeles,
games,
w
and you usually play the role
ciuchach
of Geralt of
z
Rivia.
lnu.
Thing is,
Wyglądają
Geralt
po
of
prostu jak
course
mleczek.
knows the rules of the world of the Witcher. He knows the culture. He knows the politics. And then it is also our job to make the player be able to know all of these things. So, we're not gonna start the game by saying, okay, you're in the kingdom of Redania. This is the king of Redania. This is, all the laws that exist. But we kind of try to do it naturally. So as an example, you might walk by some peasants that complain about, someone raised the taxes again. And these kind of, details where you really start, getting a feeling for how the world works. What is the culture? What kind of religions do people have? What do they believe in? And then, once you get all of that information, I think you're also able to, make choices. Because if you don't have any information to base your decisions on, that's not a good choice. That's just, choosing A and B, and I don't know what A and B are, or, what they could cause. So that's also a very important job that we have to make that possible.
Sometimes we use the player's character Geralt as a tool for exposition,
Yes.
because he does know this stuff, so he can use it. He can tell it to the player, so to speak. But this also builds into the fact of player expectations, because the Witcher universe is books, comics, series, movies. There's this famous Polish movie.
Strasznie podobają mi się wasze
And all of this stuff has built
propozycje,
layer of expectations that
co robić w tym momencie, tylko nie oglądać tego dalej, nie? Jesteście mistrzami.
Like everyone gathered at
Cześć,
Mateusz
Tek,
Tomaszkiewicz's,
witam.
Computer, our quest director. Well, he was lead back then, right? And everyone gathered around his computer and they were looking at how Yennefer looks in the game. That was the first time I saw her, and everyone had their opinions, of course, but but at the end of the day, it was really something to see, the mental image that we had of her after reading the books and watching the
Cała
movies,
perla.
rendered on the computer screen, and then a big privilege of getting to actually use this model, right? And make quests with it and all of that stuff. So yeah.
All right, so maybe let's get a little bit to the star of our games, which is Geralt of Rivia. And of course, as you're playing The Witcher, you're playing Geralt, and there are some unique challenges when essentially making him a video game character that you as a player are controlling. Maybe let's talk a little bit about that part.
Yeah, this is
Nie mówcie już o niczym
because
innym.
I noticed it first when I played The Witcher 1 as a fan. So there's this whole
To jest coś takiego, jak
gamut
jesteś
of
gdzieś tam ze
actions
szkołą.
that Geralt does that are mentioned in the books. The making
jakimś
of
muzeum
potions,
czy auli.
obviously the sword fighting, horse
Jak myślisz, że już
riding,
coś się kończy,
all these
nie.
things that kind of build
Musisz
a
czytać
picture
40 minut
of
postać.
what it is, what it means to be a Witcher in this world, right? And for this experience in the game to be immersive, we need to translate all of that into gameplay actions, into things that the player can do. Because by doing these things, by sword fighting, by mixing potions, researching monsters, talking to people, really, also, that's a big part of it. You start to feel like a Witcher, basically, because that's what you're doing for your interaction with the game, right?
Well, it's also for us, we just had to pretty much adopt his character. Because I think for many people, when they see Geralt for the first time, they think like, oh, he has a deep, raspy voice. He's probably some graph, some action hero. But the thing is, Geralt is a bit more than that. He actually has a lot of depth as a character. I really like his dry humor very much, and he has, very interesting friendships. I always love it when he discusses philosophy with his friends. My favorite Regis. It's always the best times. But also, basically, Geralt has a unique role in this world. He is a mutant. And the world of The Witcher, is a fantasy.
Przynajmniej jesteśmy w temacie.
Has lots of, real life topics. There's lots of racism in this world. There's sexism. It is a fantasy world, but it's kind of
place.
Exactly. It is a place that could have existed. Mix the real medieval world with fantasy. So Geralt is an outsider. Geralt has cat eyes. He has white hair, and people do know what a witcher is. A witcher is there to kill monsters. But for most people, a witcher is not that much better than a monster. They're like accepted as long as they do their job. Exactly, they're a mutant.
He says that he's not human multiple times.
Yeah,
he doesn't
exactly.
feel like he belongs to the race, really.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like people, tend to spit at him when they see him in the streets, and you are essentially inhabiting this role. Like Geralt is not a shining hero in a shining armor. He usually, often, he tries to do the right thing, but usually, a witcher is supposed to stay neutral. But, in the end, if he's to make a choice between good and evil, he'd rather not make a choice at all. So, of course, we have to honor that character and, make you really inhabit him as a real person. All right, so we now talked for quite a while about, The Witcher and our experiences creating the stories, our memories of making the quests in The Witcher, and I hope it kind of came across how much we love the games and our jobs making them.
And there's also one other thing we want to share with you, because we've talked about our own memories, mainly from The Witcher 3 and the expansions, but there are people at the company who have been here way longer than us, since Witcher 1 times basically, and they also have their own memories, which I invite you to see.
Może sobie do dowodu walnę, takie to jest dobre oświetlenie.
To jest moje miejsce.
Tak.
Are we talking to each other, or are we talking to one of the cameras?
Co robi Gimper? A to Gimper jak jeszcze włosów nie miał. Dobre. No jak oni będą przynudzać, to ja już nie wierzę w nic.
No, to był fajny trailer. Yeah, I remember Badowski talking about this like it has to be a magic hour.
Współpraca z Tomkiem Bagińskim, początek naszej znajomości.
O właśnie, mogliby zaprosić Tomka Bagińskiego. Czemu?
Mogę pracować w branży gier.
Tak, to jest w ogóle pierwsza rzecz, którą zrobiliśmy, z której byliśmy bardzo dumni. Ja pamiętam, że wtedy to była dla nas strasznie ważna rzecz, bo to było CG. Pierwszy CG i to było coś niezwykłego.
I was kind of proud when this came out and I felt like yeah, we can do stuff.
A przecież Gimper nigdy...
Really nice stuff. Although the hair
Borys Pugacz i Tomasz Działowy. A przecież Gimper nigdy nie miał nic wspólnego z Wiedźminem.
Pracy u mojej żony. Wszystkim paniom strasznie się podobał właśnie
Michał,
Wiedźmin.
bardzo lubię Michała. Strasznie fajny człowiek.
What was the name of the character that Geralt actually used as his bait? I remember absolutely loving his cartoonish way of running. His legs just seemed to spin around like...
O nie. Niesamowite.
Well, you know what it is.
Jakie to były
Słynne
targi?
zdjęcie z internetu, też w zasadzie memowe zdjęcie jest.
I never saw this actually. I don't think I've ever seen this photo.
No, po prostu nie było nas stać na wynajęcie dużej budki. zrobienie tam standu własnego.
Nie jest tak źle.
The E3 came a long way from kind of...
Oh yeah, well, our presence at E3 has come a long way, but I think E3 has come a long way as well.
Byliśmy taką grupą osób, która chciała zawojować, być lepsza od tych innych produkcji, które były wtedy na rynku.
Pamiątka, jak wygląda branża gier komputerowych w Polsce, gdy powstawał pierwszy Wiedźmin.
Nie istniała i nie było.
Na Amerykanka troszeczkę taki dziki zachód.
Trzeba było zbudować cały łańcuch takich hostów, którzy łapali dziennikarzy, przyprowadzali tam, odprowadzali. To oczywiście
na
było...
siłę.
No to było duże przedsięwzięcie i wszystko robiliśmy w takiej taktyce partyzanckiej.
Pamiętam, że mieliśmy plakaty, które chcieliśmy rozdawać i nikt ich nie chciał brać i wymyśliliśmy, że wbijemy się do kolejki Blizzarda i dawaliśmy ludziom stojącym w kolejce i nas goniła ochrona.
No nieładnie, nieładnie, panie Michał. To tak się nie robi.
Young and beautiful. It was GDC, right? I was doing some GDC stuff, and the Płatkow called me like, hey, you know what? There is this party you have to attend in the evening.
Pozdrawiamy hajsowników, Gimper!
He's like, no, just get into the taxi and come in and you'll be fine. And then I came in and there's like a room with, like filled with 10,000 people basically.
Gimper całe życie marzył o tym, że mieć włosy, mimo że jak ich nie miał, to wyglądał lepiej.
In fact, the last time I was here, Donald gave me a gift.
A to pamiętam.
The video game developed here in Poland that's won fans.
Daliśmy Obamie Wiedźmina.
I confess I'm not very
Edycję
good at video
kolekcjonerską.
games, but I've been told that it is a great example of Poland's
Niesamowite.
place in the global economy.
Oglądaliśmy przed chwilą to takie krzesełko i to stanowisko, a następnie...
Ja byłem wtedy jako ludolog tak dumny, nie, że Polska, gry...
W przestrzeni dosłownie kilku lat. To w bardzo krótkim
że mamy
czasie
się czymś
zrobiliśmy
pochwalić po
jakiś
prostu.
taki
Na pewno
ogromny
nie
skok do
polityką,
przodu.
ani
W
piłką
zasadzie,
nożną.
no tylko dzięki pracy ciężkiej bardzo wielu ludzi.
Tak, wtedy sprawy jakoś przyspieszyły totalnie, to znaczy nagle okazało się, że to jest głupio o tym mówić, ale że Wiedźmin stał się jakąś rzeczą, która w ogóle łączy Polaków, to jest wszystkich dobro.
Tak, to chyba był ten taki moment, w którym zacząłem sobie coraz mocniej zdawać sprawę z tego, jak bardzo jest to ważne w skali globalnej.
Ktoś zadzwonił z kancelarii na recepcję i powiedział, że tutaj mają taką prośbę, chcieliby prezent dla prezydenta Baracka Obamy.
Gaspar!
Dostać grę w jakiejkolwiek edycji. Ludzie z recepcji pomyśleli, że to jest chyba jakiś dowcip troszkę i że ktoś tam próbuje ściemnić, więc poprosili o kontakt osobisty, żeby ktoś przyszedł.
Wystosowaliśmy list od zarządu do prezydenta Obamy. Mieliśmy ileś wersji.
Darkburg, no i co z tego, że mamy, jak to nigdy nie będzie promowane, bo nie ma z tego hajsu.
To musi ładnie...
Taka jest mentalność.
I prosił o podpisy. I na pytanie dla kogo, to dla Obamy. I wszyscy, aha, to jasne, dawali podpis i zajmowali się swoimi rzeczami.
Inwestuje się w to, co ludzie chcą oglądać, nawet jak nie mamy w tym żadnych wyników.
Jak jeździliśmy pokazywać grę, to za każdym razem na każdym komputerze było trzeba sprawdzić, czy działa, ustawić i pograć kilka minut. W związku z tym tą scenę widziałem nieprzyzwoicie dużo razy.
He has very pretty feet. His feet are too pretty for a Witcher. There should be callus. Yeah, there should be calluses there and so on.
Tak jak twoje?
No, I'm serious. There should be boils and...
To jest ikoniczne.
Tak.
To jest ikoniczne.
Zostanie na zawsze.
Ja zasadniczo w ogóle tak się kąpię w codziennie.
Z takimi fajnymi
zabawkami. No tak, zabawki są mojego syna, ale...
Geralt ilustrował wszystkie artykuły na PC Gamerze i za każdym razem, gdy nie dali jako ilustracji tego artykułu Geralta w wannie, to wszyscy czytelnicy protestowali głośno i musieli przywracać ilustrację tak, żeby to był rzeczywiście Geralt w wannie.
But it was a lot of work. Even the sponge that floats
jak w czasopiśmie, tak? I
like
magicznie zmienić okładkę w twoich dłoniach.
Zrobiliśmy kiedyś figurkę i to był prototyp, jedna sztuka na drukarce 3D stworzona, ale musieliśmy później zrobić prawdziwego, bo zbyt dużo osób chciało koniecznie, żeby była prawdziwa, a nie tylko prima aprilisowym fejkiem.
Wow, mówiłem. Poznaję tego gościa.
Trochę poszła technologia na przyszłość.
To jest inwencja modelarzy, nie moja, żeby...
A podpisałeś papier, żeby mogli to zrobić?
I potem już podpisałem, jak się już zrobiliśmy bardzo profesjonalnie.
That's a long story.
I need a drink. Widzę teraz, jak strasznie dużo tam gadali w tych dialogach. Teraz już tak nie robi się gier. No ale to oczywiście miało swój urok. Widać właśnie, tak jak powiedziałeś, nie? Jak strasznie się technologia zmieniła.
We came a long way from this. I hope.
From that.
Do you know what I think? Yes, we've definitely come a long way. We've definitely come a long way from a lot of things here.
Nie tylko jeżeli chodzi o grafikę, ale też mimikę postaci, w ogóle wszystkie animacje, to w jaki sposób prezentowane jest scena.
The repeating non-met in dialogue. It was like, okay, so if you exit the conversation here and you reinitiate the conversation, he'll say this line over and over again. I'm all ears, White Wolf. I'm all ears, White Wolf.
I'm all ears, White Wolf.
We kind of knew how to use them, but kind of didn't know how to use them. So there were some really awkward ones, like, hey, Witcher! You know, good to see you. And you'd get that, 35 times during a conversation.
I hated that.
It was one of the priorities to get rid of that.
Wiedźmin 1, Wiedźmin 2, Wiedźmin 3. Widać, jak się starzał razem z nami.
No, 3 Geraltów zmieniających się. To jest w ogóle, to jest wielowymiarowe.
Completely a raw badass.
Cała stylistyka tego, to jest w jedynce mieliśmy estetyczne białe tło, w trójce podobnie, a w dwójce totalny Hollywood, eksplozje, wszystko w ogniu, a ty idziesz w slow motion, oddalając się od płomieni.
To scena z Desperado, jak z Banderasem. No, ale to smaczy ogień, to trochę usprawiedliwia.
Troszeczkę. I nie ma gitary.
Oczywiście to też jest cała generacja technologiczna. Pierwszy Wiedźmin składający się z, 15 000 trójkątów, a kolejny to już jakieś w ogóle setki.
Nawet mi nie mów o trójkątach
tak.
w Wiedźminie pierwszym, drugim czy trzecim, no to wiesz, to jest chodząca lokacja.
With The Witcher 2, we actually gave body to the continent,
Yeah, we started to explore.
We started sailing. Right? We started exploring the universe.
Przy dwójce to chyba ta okładka trochę tak powstawała. Ja pamiętam, że mieliśmy masę różnych wersji okładek z wszystkich gier ze świata i bardzo chcieliśmy się inspirować najlepszymi. Przy okładce do trójki to już było trochę tak, co nam się najbardziej podoba i co uważamy, że najbardziej pasuje.
No i potem już taki super dojrzały facio z Wiedźmina III.
Najlepszy.
No, jest zdecydowanie najbardziej taki data.
Been through hell and high water, you and me. Fact is, you know me better than anyone else does.
To wiesz, przy tym nie wiem dlaczego wzruszam i mam ciarki.
Thanks for everything.
No to był świetny film.
No to jest Fear Factor.
To.
So, might be my birthday, but I say, here's to you.
To było
jak o nim myślę, to sobie przypominam, no tak, on jest takim w sumie podsumowaniem, że to się skończyło i nie, to on nie istnieje.
No, to jest świetne zakończenie trzeciej części Wiedźmina. W Toussaint. To jest taka kropka na D.
Właśnie zakończone jeszcze w takim miejscu, które bardzo przyjemnie się kojarzy. Wakacyjnie, urlopowo.
I just need to say something that we went a hell lot of work to actually upres all our textures and we have much better textures nowadays, so I'm so proud
So this is shit.
Yes.
Pokazaliśmy go na PAX-ie w Seattle, na panelu urodzinowym i pamiętam, że tam odważyliśmy się wynająć taką wielką salę, taki amfiteatr na 2300 miejsc. Miałem mega stres, że nie wypełnimy sali, ale potem się okazało, że było na full. Mega wrażenie było.
No, Fear Factor.
No, łezka wokół się kręci.
Czy to koniec?
Geralt started talking to gamers directly. We broke the fourth wall.
No to samo chciałem powiedzieć, zburzenie czwartej ściany klasyczne.
That sort of freed us up a little bit, And I think there's still lots more to do with this franchise.
Definitely. And especially with the better textures.
Especially with the better textures.
Czerwona kartka.
Ready?
Za nudę, opuszczacie boisko. Czerwone kartki, kończcie. Haha, koniec, do domu. Cięcie.
Nie ma drugiego człowieka, na którego bym tak często wpadał leżącego na ziemi w jakiejś salce, jak Marcin. Myślałem wiele razy, że salka jest pusta, po czym się okazywało, że Marcin leży na ziemi i z kimś rozmawia.
Marcin jest alkoholikiem
to jest
po
jedyna pozycja, w której spotykasz się z ludźmi.
He is the really grumpy, but sometimes interesting talk that I know here. And I would like to thank him for his years of cooperation.
Pamiętam, jak pojechaliśmy do Kolonii na targi. No i
Podawanie
wszyscy
sobie rąk, tym się kojarzy ten mem z Obamą, co
były takie dodatkowe
zakłada
atrakcje na
medal
zewnątrz.
Obamie.
I była taka atrakcja, która polegała na tym, że wchodziło się do wielkiej kuli przezroczystej i na takim ograniczonym boisku można było się poturlać. I ty wskoczyłeś do tej kuli i tak ją rozbujałeś, że wyskoczyłeś poza to boisko i gdzieś tam się daleko poturlałeś. I to jest w ogóle taki symbol tego, że obojętnie jakich momentach kryzysowych, ty jesteś niezłomny, pełen energii i to się nie zmieniło.
Nie będę opowiadał żadnych kompromitujących rzeczy, ani niczego sensacyjnego, tylko opowiem, że za każdym razem właśnie jak się zbliżała premiera gry, gra jeździła na targi, jak właśnie produkowane były te wszystkie trailery, zawsze łapałem się za głowę.
Był Marcin w
ile tam
ogóle.
jest spoilerów. To jest
Myślę, że sala jest pusta.
nieortodoksyjne.
A w tej
nie?
sali zawsze był Marcin. Marcin leżał na ziemi.
To jest wszystko dobrze.
Z kim się rozmawia?
Właśnie na dobre wyszło i że miałeś rację.
Marcin ma kurwa problem.
Tutaj wielkiego niedźwiedzia, który wychodzi na początek, potem robi mu ujęcie na coś tam i tak tworzyliśmy pewien scenariusz, żeby wizualnie
To jest
było jeszcze
wyzwanie,
fajniej,
robić
żeby było
show
jeszcze
do
bardziej
czegoś, co
atrakcyjnie.
miało być show.
I chyba to dla mnie jest najważniejsze w pracy z tobą.
I don't know.
Ja myślę, że najważniejsze jest turlanie po śniegu. Turlanie po śniegu to jest to.
Thin and you're lanky and physically you remind me of a scalpel.
Co?
Krzysztof
Nie
is scalpel Krzyścin.
Drugą rzecz jeszcze powiem, pamiętam, że kiedyś na korytarzu żeście sobie siedzieli i kombinowali i przechodząc wam tak zazdrościłem strasznie. Tam były jakieś wykresy, smok, kreska, coś, tutaj elfy, atak. Tutaj mówię, wow, ale super, mamy taką wielką sesję roleplaying, która trwa przez pół ich życia.
Pamiętasz, jak skończyliśmy Wiedźmina pierwszego i zrobiliśmy imprezę taką małą i w pewnym momencie ktoś z nas wpadł na pomysł, nie wiem, czy to nie ty czasami, żeby te wielkie tablice korkowe, na których błędy przechodziły z jednej kolumny do drugiej, a już były niepotrzebne, gra była zamknięta, żeby je rozwalić, żeby już mieć, żeby zrobić jakąś kropkę nad niej, żeby zniszczyć te wszystkie taski, wszystkie problemy, które były i pamiętam, że zrobiliśmy to, byliśmy bardzo niegrzeczni.
If you've been with us from the start, then
Tak,
you know
jesteśmy
strangers
niestety,
to their music.
Boże!
Our house band is back. The amazing Marcin Pibivovic
O.
and Percival, take it away.
No. Ktoś im dał informację na słuchawki. Obudźcie ludzi, kurwa! Jak ci się podoba WitcherCon? Perciwali 45. Koniec. I pan Marcin na ziemi. Pijany. Tak jak oglądasz, nie wiem, Śmierć w Wenecji i nagle wpierdalają się Transformersy. Nie poda. Znaczy jak poda, to i tak będziesz musiał tak dodać z 5 cm. Boże, 1,5 godziny to już trwa, nie? A zanim będzie pierdolenie, to wcześniej jeszcze będzie trochę pierdolenia, a na sam koniec będzie Kawil, który też nam troszeczkę popierdoli, ale na niego przynajmniej można popatrzeć. Oni są wszyscy rudzi? Teraz to zauważyłem? Mag ognia na bębenkach na bank. Nie, trawa jest zielona. To tego Marcina... O, jest i pan Marcin! Siedzi, a nie leży. Jeszcze!
The name of the game is Geralt of, wait for it, Trivia. Such a good day, whoever came up with that. And the goal is to determine which of my next panelists truly deserve the title of Lore Master.
Andrew.
So let's give it up for showrunner, executive producer, and all-round Witcher whiz,
Ekspertką bym jej nie nazwał.
I feel like Oprah. Like,
I want that introduction everywhere. That's amazing.
I'm for hire. I'll just follow you around, shouting your name loudly with an arm gesture.
Love it. I'm
Excellent.
so ready for this game.
Excellent. She's joined by the man who follows in her footsteps, writer on The Witcher and showrunner for The Witcher Blood Origin. It's Declan de Barra! And
Dekiel?
You all right,
To
Declan? You
jest
okay?
imię?
I'm good. I'm just teed up and ready to destroy my former friend who's now my mortal enemy.
Oh,
wow.
I see how we're playing this game.
Yes,
It's gonna get
dirty,
a little,
dirty.
get a little dirty, huh?
Absolutely.
Can't wait.
Okay. And joining
pierdolę.
us from
Te
Poland
dwie jak
are
się
two
dobiorą,
men
to tego
with
nie
as
można
much Witcher
słuchać, nie?
knowledge as one can pretty much get. CD Projekt Red lead quest designers Błażej Augustnik and Philippe Weber.
Hello.
Hi, Błażej.
Hello.
how
O
are you?
nie.
I'm doing fine, thanks.
O nie.
Are you happy? You're excited?
Yeah, I am. Sure.
O nie.
Going to do here.
And Philippe,
Będziemy
how
rozmawiać,
confident
tak
you
jak
feel?
lubisz.
Oh, I'm not sure. I have to admit, I'm very excited, but we're gonna fight. That's sure.
All right, well, fair enough. I think it's one of these sort of like weird things where you're like, no one's really competitive, but then suddenly everyone's very...
Yeah,
look at you, leaning in your seat, all aggressively ready, Declan. Anyway, let me explain basically the game mechanics of like how this is going to work. So you're divided into teams. So Lauren and Błażej, you're the blue team, right? And Declan and Philippe, you are the red team, okay? So in a minute,
Komuniści,
I'll
tak
start
myślałem.
with the questions, and there's basically going to be 9 in total.
A
which
nie
is
lepiej
4
nazwać
for
po
each
prostu
and
alianci i
one
Sowieci,
decidable-
jak w Retalercie?
final question for all of you. And each question earns your team 1 point. But answer incorrectly, and the opposing team has the opportunity to potentially
To już jest
steal
nagrane,
your point.
kurde.
So, I mean, feel free to obviously deliberate with your counterparts, your other team
No
members.
fajnie, gdyby tak nikt nie
but
odpowiedział na
obviously
żadne
the opposing
pytanie.
team is listening, so don't give too much away, or you might lose a point. And, you know, you viewers at home, do you think that you can outdo the pros at all of these Witcher lore questions? But do
Nie.
share your answers with us by tweeting using the hashtag WitcherCon. Right, hopefully that's all clear.
It is.
Medium.
Lauren, that you do know
yeah.
that we've replaced there's panels underneath you. If you get a wrong answer, you go into the fiery depths. No pressure.
No pressure at
whatsoever.
all. I mean, I'm confident. I think Błażej and I have...
Wait, was that? It's actually fire and spikes.
Fire and spikes. Just when you think fire can't get any worse, there's spikes into the mix. Well, just mean your weird little mind works, Declan, but we like it. That's all good. Okay, so first question is for the blue
Declan.
team. So let's see how well you really know dear old Geralt. So, for a man of surprisingly few words, he's actually got a huge amount of monikers. Can you name all 6 of them?
6.
6. There's 6.
There is 6 of
I have
them.
them on this card here, just in case.
Does The Witcher count?
No.
Okay, let's go with
the
the
other
easy
6.
ones then. Let's get
Okay.
the easy ones out of
Biały
the way,
wilk,
right?
rzeźnik z
There's
blawikiem.
the White Wolf,
The White Wolf?
which in Elven or Elvish is Gwynblade. In English, it
Gwynblade.
would be pronounced how? Gwynblade?
Gwynbleth?
Gwynblade.
It's Welsh, I
Yeah.
think.
Yes.
That's 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So we
Butcher,
got 2.
Butcher
Shepard.
of Blaviken.
Of course.
No,
One of the more popular
właśnie.
ones. classic.
The classic B.O.B.?
Isn't there another
there's
Butcher
the-
one? There's another
Yeah.
one with Butcher.
The Butcher of White Orchard.
Yes. Okay, you got
Okay.
4.
Yes.
Okay.
Couple more
And
to
there's another one I wanted to say about.
Peralt z Libii!
It's a throwaway
To jest chyba
line
oczywiste.
in the books.
Gdzie jest Peralt?
It's Ravix of Fourhorn.
Fourhorn, yes. Wow.
Czteroroga in Polish.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Sounds kind of
yeah,
dirty.
yeah.
Sounds kind of dirty.
It does.
Dirty.
Have you been-
Dirty.
Okay, so we... There's all Polish
Ta
stuff.
showrunnerka jest straszna.
We got one more. One
Okay,
more.
one
Can you
more,
get
one
it?
more.
It's really going to kick yourself. It's quite straightforward.
No podawajcie, że się nie przygotowaliście do pytań, no Jezu, błagam.
The white one. The white one.
The white one?
Let's see if they've got it right.
To jest taka
And they
klasyka, jeśli
have,
znasz
yes.
odpowiedź,
All 6 right. So
ale
the
masz
point
udać, że nie
goes
znasz
to you.
odpowiedzi, ale zgadłeś to tak. Zawsze zaczynajcie, kończcie
I get
pytajnikiem.
more points for that, because that's a lot of
I'm
answers.
registering a protest.
Rawik z Czernobroga?
I missed his 2 most crucial names, which is Stan the Hat.
Oh.
Where Stan the Hat is his side gig where he sells illicit kittens in Blaviken. And Bob. Bob is
Bob.
a nice name for a... Bob, that's a nice name for a Witcher. Bob.
Bob the Witcher.
And any Blackadder fans out there will
Yes.
get that.
And you know why he said it like that?
Why?
Because he used to have a stutter, so it was Bob.
Bob.
Yeah.
Well, we also forgot a really important one, because when Geralt was a young guy, Vesemir asked him to, what's your proper Witcher name? And I think he wanted to be Roger Eric Duot Bellegarde, and Vesemir told him he's an idiot. So I think that's always my favorite one.
Yeah, but he was a little kid then.
That's very
we
long name.
also could say that it's Sir Geralt because he did get knighted at some point, right?
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of,
Yeah,
as we
you
said,
have Mev stepping in.
Like, how long can we keep going right
no,
now?
it's the point's already
Zbigniew
gone.
zgadzam.
I think that's basically it. But it was fun to hear all these other names. That was pretty good. So, red team. So
Drodzy
now we're on the
czerwoni.
topic of Geralt. Which creature or being gave
Jak
Geralt a
polowano
scar
na
across his left
czarownicę,
eye?
skoro już jesteśmy przy wiedźmach i
Was it from
wiedźminach.
winking too much?
Ciekawe, czy to się tak zwracano.
Ladies.
Drodzy czerwoni!
Think it has something to do with a
Amerykanie.
sounding name.
Okay. You're going to need to be a little bit more specific than that.
Cockatrice of something.
Kieliszek skądś tam?
Spala.
Kieliszek się spali.
Ah, yes, they've got it right. Ding, 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 ding. Point to the red team. Oh, even Steven.
How many times is that said in the game? How many times? Is it said a lot?
I'll be
How
completely honest.
many
I think
times?
it's just kind of a throwaway line. It's Geralt mentions it, but I could not recall if there is a big story behind it. That seems like something maybe we should do at some point.
This is some sort of worrying, wibbly law we need to hammer out here. Not okay with that.
I'm very disappointed that has been used because it's the best character name ever. Because could you imagine like Witcher season 7? And it's like, good evening, I am the cockatrice of Spala. And I have come to kill you.
I would fully watch that.
I don't think it talks.
Fully watch that.
You don't think it talks?
All right, okay, next question for the blue team. All right, so from ghoul bites to other things that have kind of strange effects on the mind and body, who or
Mistrzowie
what
Babank.
is Rydwaith Carthian? Is it
Drogie
1,
lewaki.
a monster that controls minds? Is it 2, an exotic plant? Is it
Rzucisz
3,
es.
heartache in Hanlinga? Or is it 4, an influential mage?
It sounds made
Ja myślę,
up.
że to jest egzotyczna roślina.
Does, I'm not going to lie.
I think I know this one.
That's true. That's true.
But I'm afraid
go
of saying
ahead.
it. Okay, we're going to try it.
Just do it. Just do it.
I
Just do
think
it.
it's an exotic plant.
Are they right? Is it an exotic plant? Yes, you are correct.
Nice.
Point.
I co, głupio wam na czacie teraz, co?
I didn't.
Tak się strzela z 45.
Okay, right, red team, are you ready? Oh, wow, very ready, aggressively so. Right, okay, so it's not just plants that you should be wary of in The Witcher. The universe is full of dangerous creatures too, and each one more horrendous than the last. Which far from friendly foes silhouette...
Słuchajcie, wy sobie oglądajcie ładnie, ja idę do
Is it
toalety. Opowiedzcie mi, jak było.
A gold dragon. Number 2, a basilisk. Number 3, a griffin. Or number 4, a
Boże,
green
gryf.
dragon. Let's see it.
First of all, I did not approve this picture of me at all. It's
It's like a weird Rorschach test, right?
Yeah.
It is like a griffin had copulation effects with a basilisk and had a baby and fed it fire. I
It
don't
looks
know.
like me coming home from a night out.
I think because the way it's hunched over, what would you think, a basilisk or a griffin? No, it's not a griffin.
I mean, maybe it's a bit cheating because I do recognize that it's from the game. So I, but it's, it's made for me.
It's not cheating. That's the point. Where you being here?
What are you going with? Final
How
answer?
long were you going to let us go back and forth?
Okay.
Yeah, it should be a basilisk, but it could also be a cockatrice, maybe of Spala, but I will go with basilisk because there's no cockatrice here.
Or it could be
That's
me.
not one of the answers.
Hold on.
Okay.
If I was like this.
Yeah.
It's
there we go.
kind of
This
you.
is very similar.
Like if you spilt some wine on the floor or
Exactly.
something. Yeah, very similar. Okay, let's find out if they've got the correct answer. Yes, it is number 2, a basilisk. Well done. Point.
Perfect.
This is getting... okay, I'm into this. This is fun. Right, question for the blue team now. Now, we already know that Henry Cavill was a huge fan of the books and the games, but it seems that he wasn't alone. I mean, apparently, Lauren Declan, your colleague, Tomasz Baginski, wanted to get the show made
Przyniosłem wam kawałek
badly
drewna,
that he
jakbyście
went
się
kind of
nudzili.
all in on a very extreme gesture. But what gesture was that? Number 1, he wrote a passionate 25-page letter telling Sapkowski why the show needed to be made. Was it number 2 that he showed up at Sapkowski's office to serenade him for a
To jak
flower?
tam?
Sort of hope that's true.
Mam
Number
nadzieję, że
3,
czerwoni
he made a
wygrywają.
pilot episode in which he portrayed both Geralt, Yennefer and Ciri. Actually, no, scratch that. I want that one to be the one. Or number 4, he lobbied to make The Witcher part of Polish cultural heritage and thus secure a special grant needed to kickstart production. So many good endings here, but which one is it?
I'm a big fan of the second one.
No, to był bazyliszek, nie gryf?
And I would like to live in a world where this is true, but I don't think it's true.
Nie obchodzi mnie to.
So, do you know?
I do. I know this one.
Yeah.
Although I'm still a little bit surprised by the detail that I didn't know, which is I knew that he wrote Sapkowski a letter.
Yeah.
But
One
I'm gonna have
man
to make fun
pilot.
of him because who writes a 25-page letter?
I mean, first of all, who writes a letter anyway? But like, I mean, I presume was it handwritten?
I'm sure.
There's no way that was like, it's got to be cursive with like a quill or something.
I really...
25 pages. Did you read it?
Do you think he read it all?
I do think he read
Postawił
it.
kloc.
I mean, it's Sapkowski. I think absolutely he read it.
Yeah,
and then he probably ripped it up and threw it away.
That's a shame. I really wish that this existed so that we could read it. I want to know what anyone can say for 25 pages.
Ile oni tam mają? Tych było
Pretty
6
impressive.
tysięcy,
But
nie?
should we check that the answer's right? Unsurprisingly, it is correct.
Ile?
Can you
Nie
get
dowiemy
it
się?
somewhere? Can you read it?
That'd be awesome. We got to get a copy.
Yes.
Yeah, I bet we can ask for it.
I think this needs to happen.
But I also think we should have him serenade Sapkowski at some point,
Absolutely.
just for the sake of our glee.
That did happen. He told me this on a
No.
drunken night out. Because he got turned down on the 25-page letter. Because he camped outside that door in the cold and the wet for 10 long nights. And eventually, it started raining down soggy letters, pieces of letter, and it's like, go away from me.
Pozdrawiam.
So he starts to sing, fails, he leaves, he comes back 1 month later with the real thing that changed the whole deal, which was 25 Bavarian mimic owls, which he set upon Sapkowski to fly through his window, and every time he would try and go to sleep, he would go, "We need to do this. This must happen. Read the letter. Give in to Tomek." And it worked.
Now you're going to see why the writer's room of The Witcher is so much fun.
This is bad.
Yeah, madness. I love it.
But it worked for him, so it was
It
great.
did. It's great.
It's
But
good.
we have to get this letter.
Lovely. I mean, moving on. Red team. Okay, so as you all know well, lots of things get lost on the cutting room floor, and you know, some probably it's better for the better. Which cut did CDPR regret, though, in retrospect? Was it number 1, a sequence where Ciri fights monsters
Cyberpunk
whilst ice skating?
2077.
Is it number 2, the ability to swap horses? That's just mean. Poor Roach. What would the game be without? 3, making the game a multiplayer. Or 4, making Geralt an elven mage.
Ice skating.
I remember this one. You got the easy one.
It's a cheating question again. Of course I know that.
You know that one?
You know it.
But
Yeah, we all know it.
I'll give you a try because I always get the video game questions.
Yeah, maybe because I don't know the answer, I'm going to have to guess here. It's either going to be swapping horses or ice skating with monsters. I mean, ice skating with monsters, I hope that was the thing because imagine at the end of it, like she does a pirouette, chops the head off a ghoul, And then there's like people at the end holding up scores, you know, 10.9 technical merit, you know, gore factor 9.
I love that. I would watch more ice skating shows if there was more bloodshed. Let's be honest.
That's the only thing that's missing.
Right.
This needs to happen in the Olympics. Monster ice
But,
skating.
I mean, Siri has some great scenes ice skating and, you know, hurting people. So,
It has to be that, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for helping me.
Philip, is that right, Philip?
I would say, yeah, it's right. It's one that hurts the most. There's, you know, of course, always many cuts that hurt us a lot. One colleague of mine had a bad cut that was called troll poop. He's still very sad about that one, but the ice skating is definitely one of the hardest ones. Yeah. True.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
ice skating. Perfect.
Let's see if they're right. And you're right.
Thank you, Lauren.
Wow, yeah, you accidentally.
Wcale się nie zakończy to
involved
remisa.
in being right there.
Wcale nie.
No. Oh, okay, all right, it's all right. Still all to play for, don't worry. So, right, Lauren, okay, blue team. Now, when you think of The Witcher, I mean, it's really hard to not think of monsters. And, you know, Geralt may not actually face that many monsters in the books, but he does see his fair share within the series, you know, of the games and the show. My question is, which monster isn't mentioned in the books and games? So, is it number 1, the Doppler? Number 2, Alp? Is it number 3, Sylvan? Or 4, Selkimor?
Okay, so the Alp is a vampire, and it's definitely mentioned. The Sylvan is mentioned as well, and Doppler has its own story. And
Doppler
has, like, a
jest,
character.
oczywiście.
I don't remember the Selkimo anywhere, so that would be my bet.
Ja też.
I'm going
Ja
to
też.
firmly agree on that one. Yes.
Okay, are they
Ta
right?
też nie wie, ale klepnęła. Yeah! Ale jesteśmy mądrzy.
Guys, this is obviously you're going to know all the answers. I would be mad if you didn't, right? Okay, so there's a bit of a reason why I didn't ask you that question, Declan, because I believe that actually this we're about to see here is your handiwork.
Indeed, that is it. And there was another picture of it actually swallowed up poor Geralt.
Yeah.
And then Geralt cut his way from the inside out, killing the Selkimo.
Yeah.
And then he flees past Jaskier, who's going, what's going on? And then thousands of baby Selkimos come out chasing him while Geralt's covered in slime.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, we had to change for the script, and I had finished the writer's room, and you called me while I was on holiday in Spain, going, I need some dialogue for a pub patron who's describing this scene.
Mam nadzieję, że w tym
I was
roku.
on a train.
Minimum miesiąc wcześniej dostaniecie informacji. Też czekam.
I like to act out the dialogue, so there was a packed train, and I was going, you know, covered him all it did, swallowed him, giant obsidian teeth of death. And everybody on the train was
Loving it.
Loving it. Well, not loving it, calling the police.
Did you get your own seat though? Everyone's like, I'm just going to like slowly move away from that.
So I was texting it to Lauren, and it made the cut. So I'm delighted.
It absolutely did. What didn't make the cut is the actual Silky Maw.
Yeah. Oh well. Next time. But we got the Kralak in, so I was really happy. Which is the Rochan.
I have to say that is a really great scene. Like his whole speech there, where you're like, it's brilliant.
It's one of those things where it works out better.
Brilliant.
Not actually showing it.
Yes.
Amazing.
Really cool. That
He's
was Lauren's
super
smart idea.
excited.
On special effects there, just totally. Right, we've got another
To
question
są
for the red
3
team
elementy
here, and it's
opisujące
another one about
emocje,
names. So, who
które
is
nie
the
towarzyszy mi
Viscount
nawet
de
przez
Legendary?
5 sekund
Is
dzisiaj.
it
Nie?
number 1, the Ike of Denzile? Is it number 2, Jaskier or Dandelion? Or is it 3, the Detlef van Echretine? Man, I'm having a day. 4, Gonta Odim.
We would all be burned at the stake, quite rightfully so, if we didn't know this.
Aggressive.
Yeah,
Horsey.
I agree.
The fans would drag us out and bury us alive.
Okay.
It is Jaskier and Dandelion. Of course, it's very important to him.
Let's see if you're right.
O, remis!
Yes,
Woo!
well done.
Big surprise.
Not so much. Jaskier, Dandelion, Julian, Alfred, Pancras. I mean, call him what you want and say what you will, but I do think we can all agree that the Bard always looks like $1 million. And he isn't the only one. Philip, I hear you guys are making sure that the Witcher 3 is looking equally suave and sleek on all next-gen hardware?
Oh, do I get to announce that? All right. Yeah, so if I can say, yes, we are working on a next-gen update for the next-gen consoles to make the Witcher Wild Hunt look extra smooth and extra great again. Of course, for people who already own the game, and of course also on PC, we'll be able to upgrade for free. So I'm also really happy to say that for this upgrade, we collaborated with Netflix for some free DLC to add to the game. So as an example, you might be able to wear Geralt's armor, you know, inspired by the Netflix
O,
series.
to ciekawe.
And we'll have more info about that in the
A czy Nilfgaard dostanie zbroję z serialu? Proszę!
That will always do
That
it.
would do it. I mean, yeah, you're going to have a bit of a
Rojson po
frown.
prostu ustaw sobie na low.
So, seeing as we've got at least one illustrator here in the studio, I thought it'd be kind of fun to play around virtually.
Wiedźmin 3 dostanie zbroję z serialu dla Nilfgaardu. Raz!
I'll be giving each of you a card with the word or
Wiecie,
phrase on
te-
it, and it's going to be the same word or phrase. Now, it's your job to draw it to the best of your abilities within 60
Wiecie,
seconds.
te pomarszczone jak
Drawing,
penis.
the partners on the line are basically going to start
Stary
guessing, and the
penis.
first to guess right wins.
Stary, zwęglony,
Clear.
smutny
Okay,
penis.
So, both teams, please turn over your cards.
Piękna
Take it
dezinformacja.
all in.
Jak będziemy mogli nosić w Wiedźminie 3 zbroję Geralta z serialu, to ja chcę uaktualnienie dla
60
Nilfgaardu.
seconds on the clock. And remember, guys in Poland, Błażej and Philip, let us know as soon as you know.
Okay, I'm going to draw my finger because
Yeah?
it's not working.
I think I'm seeing a ghost.
Co oni wiedzą o pęcie, nie?
I might be seeing
Has a big fin on the back. It's like a... No, it's an arm. Sorry, it's an arm.
The other one is cool. I see a cow with teeth.
That's how you
Ani jednego karniaka?
Like so far, it has like four limbs, but it looks like very spidery.
Come on, guys, have you got any idea what it is? Shout out if you know.
No, it's a ghoul. It's a ghoul, right? It's very spindly, the face.
Oh, you got it.
Stop. Yes, you are right. It's a ghoul.
It has to be. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
look
just
at
life. Like, that's uncanny, my drawing to that.
Yeah, it was a pretty good. Yeah.
So with the final point going to the red team, that tallies up to a final outcome of 4 points to the blue team and 5 points to the red team. Declan's team is the winner. And
The only thing is, I think it's on me, having said I'd play dirty, to play honest, because we wouldn't have got that point without your team's assist. So I think, in fairness, it is the blue team who wins.
Oh, wow.
Exactly, yeah. So
Ostatni
I
raz
think
tak
we should present
chyba
a
w
little-
liceum się
just
czułem,
a tiny
gdzie
little token
chcę już wrócić do domu i pograć w gry, ale muszę jeszcze siedzieć na lekcji.
What is happening?
It's
There was a prize. No one told me there was a prize. I would have actually got... Actually, no, I wouldn't have been able to answer
Great
the questions. I
prize.
don't know why.
I'm just curious what the prize is.
You won.
Oh.
Okay.
You got that
Are you
for
going
us?
to ship this to
Okay.
us?
This is living in right beside Lauren's pool. Blue team,
Wow.
I present to you Sir Gwyneth of Gryffindor.
Oh my God.
I can't believe you did this for us.
That's okay,
It's
because
so
I get a
amazing.
consolation prize.
What?
What are you doing?
How do you feel there, Błażej? Oh, wait, well, you can't just keep... Well, wow.
I
this
mean,
is
I
taking a
hope you
turn.
ship this to
taking-
Poland, right?
I'm
So I
taking
can
this back on the
put it
subway
in
with
front
me.
of my house.
We're going to share custody of this, I think. We can
Tak.
just take turns
You can-
6 months
Yeah,
at a time.
yeah.
Kill her!
Perfect.
Do
You
this!
have a pool, right?
I was going to
So
say...
it floats,
Teraz
right? It
powinien obciąć im
So, you
głowę,
know,
nie?
put the kids on that, they'll love it.
Niżej, pani Blade Runner, showrunner! Niżej!
Oh, yeah, Philippe, do you...
I think I have a nice little halberd.
Obetnij im głowy.
Oh, so that's
I
our
mean, how
prize.
do you guys in
I
Poland
like it.
feel
I na koniec powinien przyjść nasz,
your giant skull prize?
nasz rusznikarz z 45 i jeszcze dobić, nie?
I'm happy with that.
They both work for home defense.
Ja myślę, że tak, że tu chodzi o finalną masakrę na
You walk
scenie,
in and
nie?
you see a giant griffin head and you say, who the hell slayed that? And I'm not messing with him.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's cheaper than paying for those
I'd
alarm
much
unit
rather
things.
much rather have
Rozmowa z Henry Cavillem za 24 minuty dopiero.
Okay, so short weekends and weeks, all right? We'll just post it back and forth.
Every third Wednesday.
O nie,
Whatever.
dopiero za 23
Okay. Well,
minuty.
look, Blue Team, it's my supreme pleasure to, you know, very unofficially pronounce you WitcherCon 2021 Law Masters. So, I mean, do you want to share like a few words of victory with your fans or any potential, you know, future usurpers to your crown?
No words of victory. It's just been so exciting to be here and doing this today, and I've loved working with the team from CDPR on this.
I'm
It's
super
been
exciting
great to partner up
about
and actually,
amazing
maybe someday we can
atmosphere
end up in the same
today.
place at the same time. That would be exciting too.
Exciting, dwa razy excited.
All four of us, the skull and the halberd.
Right.
How are you excited, Mr. Marcin?
Not gonna lie.
Some little barbarian mimic owls.
Yes, it's a date. You know, WitcherCon 2022 maybe.
Absolutely.
Do it.
With
that sounds
with
good.
lots and lots of fans.
Yep.
Definitely.
Poda wam się moja
for
figurka
you
firmy
for
Piranha
War
Bytes.
Masters here, and, like, no points
Jest
to be
najlepsza
earned, you know,
figurka na
your
świecie.
win is safe here. But you could unlock a secret reveal for the audience if you get this one right. Okay, so we talked a little bit before about Geralt's ghoul bite earlier.
O czym,
and,
że
after
kurwa,
that
o czym
incident,
rozmawiacie?
Geralt's taken to safety by Jurga, but you know, the White Wolf isn't really having it. He asked Jurga to take him to the Blue Mountains, saying he'll save me. What is Geralt talking about here? Come on.
It's got to be daddy pants, right?
I mean, I wrote the line, so it's kind of unfair for me to answer
Okay,
it.
I mean, you know, if Geralt has like one guy who he's always looking out for, it's usually Uncle Vesemir.
Yeah, okay, it's Vesemir.
You are absolutely right. The answer is Vesemir. So well done, well done. But also, I have to say, Lauren, I did hear kind of like some sort of mutterings backstage that this sort of might be the year of Vesemir. So can you explain to me why? To be fair, I shouldn't really have been eavesdropping, but why is it the year of Vesemir?
I was going to say, we cannot keep anything secret, can we?
No.
So, you know, I've spoken a lot about Vesemir. I'm really excited to introduce him in Season 2. And to finally meet this man who basically created Geralt, who shaped Geralt into the Witcher that we know and love. But it's a little bit more than that, actually, because even before Witcher 2 is launched, we are launching our first anime feature, Nightmare of the Wolf. And we are so excited for
Wiedźmin anime.
to see this.
Wow. That looks incredible.
That is pretty exciting.
That is very exciting. Oh my goodness. Wow.
And if you notice, there's a date on this, so you're not going to have to wait very long.
That's really soon. It's that kind of time. I'm really sorry to say, but it is basically the end of panel 2. So I
O nie! O nie!
Poland. And of course,
Jak to było tak cudownie?
guys at home, I mean, did you beat the pros? Did you get more questions right than they did? Oh, well, we'll find
Nie,
out soon
znaczy nie
enough, but
odpowiedziałem, bo ja
I do
sobie
hope
cały
you
czas
stay
zadaję
tuned,
pytanie,
because
dlaczego ja to
enjoying
oglądam
what's
już.
been revealed so far, you do not want to miss the next reveal.
Tak, anime Wiedźmin. Czekaliśmy ponad 2 godziny, żeby się dowiedzieć. Nie ma... Jest 12 miesięcy, a nie 23. Nie wiem o co chodzi.
If you ask me, there's no such thing as too much behind the scenes content, so I feel like we should keep the good times rolling. So, what have you got up your sleeves for us, Lauren?
Well, I am so excited to take you to a place that I think all fans are dying to see. It's a key spot at the core of the Witcher universe. Join me on a tour of Kaer Morhen that touches upon the Keep's lore and visual style across 3D and 2D and live-action formats, from the games, the series, and the anime film. Come on inside. Creating Kaer Morhen for Season 2 has been quite the adventure. We have worked so hard to bring this ancient keep to life, the place where Witchers return each winter to rest and restore. I'm excited to welcome you all, legacy fans and new audiences alike, home to Kaer Morhen. Over 1,000 years old, this building has seen more than its fair share of danger. Each column and stone tells the story of how Witchers endured amid the dark history of an evolving continent. The Kaer Morhen scene in the video game is in the prologue of the first Witcher game, where players must defend the stronghold from the attack of Azar Javed and the Magister. In Witcher 3, the dreaded Wild Hunt attacks and lays siege to Kaer Morhen in an attempt to kidnap Ciri,
players are also able to explore the keep's surrounding regions and dig deeper into Witcher history. In the last few years, the Witcher universe has expanded rapidly, and with it, our understanding of Kaer Morhen. The upcoming anime film Nightmare of the Wolf will provide our first piece of connective tissue between the past and the present. In the anime, we'll witness the pivotal sacking of Kaer Morhen, when fearful, fanatical humans attacked the keep. And then in Season 2, we see the resulting dilapidation of this siege. At the very heart of Kaer Morhen is the Great Hall, built in stunning detail for Season 2. We see that the keep's tables are empty, its giant fire pit casting more shadows than light. At the center of the Great Hall stands the Medallion Tree, a mysterious and looming memorial where the medallions of fallen Witchers have been hung for hundreds of years, a reminder of the brotherhood that bonds them, even in death. We also glimpse the Witcher armory, full of weapons and elixirs to help the Witchers defend the continent and themselves against future attacks. And those who know, know. Finally, we explore the basement lab. A pivotal place of experiment and research. The lab is also where young Witchers are created, if they're lucky enough to survive the trial of the grasses.
Zależy od gibonów.
It's been an exciting journey, crafting a new piece of this Witcher world.
Takiego dobrego, wiecie.
We hope you love it as much as we do.
W końcu PZR, nie? Przypal z Rojem. O kurde.
Some of them I haven't seen since early last year. So it's been really beautiful to like blow kisses at them in the distance and air five.
Oh, I fully get the vibe that you guys are really, really tight.
Yeah, we're a family. We get really territorial over each other. It's beautiful.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Na pewno dbacie o siebie w
And I
kuchni.
will say it again, but the Witcher universe is, of course, constantly growing. And how's that been for you to kind of see the show evolving in such a way?
I am always in awe as to how everyone comes together just to create this for the fans. And I'd actually like to show you something really special.
Steka? Tak, Rojo, kurwa. Steka. Steak from a horse.
I'm Matt. I'm one of the stunt performers.
Mikey Bird!
And I'm also a stunt performer.
We can't be in the shot. And they use the heads as sort of a reference how the creature would move and so on. We'll be back at the studio choreographing different fights and that sort of thing, and just go into the set and then green suit up.
Ej, ten przystojny,
So
kurwa.
this is the real deal.
Ma nawet zielone oczy.
This is us day to day.
Na wszelki wypadek.
So this is the smallest. It's took a little bit of a beating over the course of filming. Extremely long pole. And obviously we need to maneuver the head as per the.
Czy mi się włączyło na jakieś azjatyckie porno? Boże, ile tu jest cenzury. Werbalno-wizualne. Kim oni są?
I think the fans want to see. Like right at the end, it just all kicks off and it's full on.
Świetnie. Nie, świetnie, naprawdę. Przecieki, wszystko wypipane i wszystko wyblurowane. Świetnie, woo! Czekam.
It seems there's always more to learn about the people behind the Witcher universe and the amazing work that they do. Next, we're going to take a look at The Witcher Monster Slayer, a mobile location-based AR game developed and published by the Spoko team.
Green Day.
This new adventure in the world of The Witcher will be available shortly, so let's dive in and hear what it's all about from Rafał.
Rafał, powiedz mi o grze, bo nie grałem. UFO porno!
Being a Witcher? In our game, The Witcher Monster Slayer.
Tego jestem ciekaw, tego jestem ciekaw, bo od Pokémon Go się odbiłem, powinien tak wpaść pod auto. To nie jest dobra reklama, Roja.
With the visual quality known from The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, we're bringing the monster-infested realm directly into our world. To feel what it's like to be a professional Witcher for yourself, all you need is your phone. But our game is not just about hunting and killing beautifully rendered beasts. Above all,
nasza gra jest też o tym, jak wpaść pod auto. Jak wejść z komórką do meczetu. Jak zbezcześcić tybetańską świątynię. Jak wejść na kawałek pola minowego w Normandii.
Imagine facing an iconic task that only a Witcher can handle.
Who are you?
Lifting a curse that has turned an innocent child into a bloodthirsty
I'm just a guy with the iPhone.
Few have ever succeeded in breaking the spell or killing this particular beast.
Nie, ja muszę zrobić jakąś przeróbkę, wpadam pod auto, nie?
This task will fall to you. Put your bravery to the test and see if you have the power
Już widzę, jak idę do parku.
Where so many others have failed. But to rise to this challenge, you'll have to pay attention to the world around you, because the game plays out in real time. Like a true Witcher, you'll need to prepare, bide your time, and wait until nightfall for the fearsome Striga to appear.
Tak, będę siedział 30 godzin na łapce, żeby doczekać się Strzygi. Ja pierdolę. Sformułowanie no life weszło na nowy poziom, moi drodzy. Nie mogę się doczekać, aż będę czekał 12 godzin w parku na ławeczce, na Strzygę. Moje życie jest cudowne. No ale w ogóle to pojawi się. Nie uwierzycie, ale naprawdę. Jak wam obiecaliśmy dzisiaj trochę przecieków. Pierwszy przeciek to. Gościnnie w drugim sezonie, w 6. odcinku wystąpi. A pan zbrojmistrz za pomocą 45 zrobiłby. Paf! Ojejku. Wyśmienita zabawa. Wyśmienita. Nie, to jest tak dobre, moi drodzy, że zapis będzie publiczny, nie? Zapis jest publiczny, jak nic.
Clearly there's plenty to look forward to in the coming months, or even years. But there's one topic that we haven't really touched upon during this edition of WitcherCon, and that's figurines. So find out next how these collectible pieces were created, what inspired them, and what they really mean to their makers.
To brakuje jeszcze tylko takich żarcików właśnie, nie? Jak pani showrunnerka się przegląda, nie? Pani konferencjerka ją pyta, co robisz, a ja... Pan misterko!
CD Projekt Red gear line of Witcher World figures. We've been blown away by the love you've shown our Japanese-inspired takes on Geralt and Ciri. Today, I want to talk to you about the creative process behind these designs, which were so rewarding for artists.
Patrzcie, laska bez makijażu.
Folklore and myths like the
A mi
ones
się
you
podoba.
see in The Witcher
Z makijażem? To byłby kosmos.
across the world. Having previously played with this idea, we knew the Witcher's character could work in vastly different settings. Our partners have done some amazing work
W dzisiejszych czasach kobieta bez makijażu w mediach? Odważnie. Kupiec korzenny, co przegapiłem? Absolutnie nic!
And into a different kind of a dark medieval with Geralt running. You can see that all you know and love about Geralt is right there in full force. He's still a monster slayer, he's still a master swordsman, but we've transported him right into the heart of feudal Japan and really made him feel like an authentic wandering samurai. It was an exciting moment for us seeing the figure take shape.
Karaba, no ja widziałem, że ty tyjesz, no. Strasznie. Zaniedbałeś się, chłopie. Pamiętaj o zdrowiu, no. Nie żeruj tyle.
When we revealed Ronin Geralt, the feedback from fans was amazing. That gave the art team a lot of confidence to look deeper into this setting inspired by Japan's history, see what other aspects we could explore. We went on to do so with Ciri and the Kitsune. We wanted to make Ciri look and feel powerful and supreme, but also incredibly elegant. Her stance is tall and proud, very confident, and her traditional bright yellow yukata emphasizes that as well. And like Geralt, the character of Ciri is similar to what we know from the games, but the setting gives her a different essence. By taking Ciri and building this Japanese scene around her, it also feels like it adds to her mythology too. After all, she's the lady of space and time. I think she was the perfect follow-up to our first figure. We paid a lot of attention to the individual settings for each figure. We carefully planned the composition and design of
No,
each
rynek
figure's
azjatycki to jest
base to help us
najpotężniejszy rynek
tell
na
their
świecie.
stories and set the scene.
Chyba logiczny.
Geralt's is a quiet moment as he hunts his way through the Koyasan's Okunoin cemetery, while Ciri's is more destructive, placing her in the ruins of destroyed shrine. We took our time to make the base as detailed as possible, especially when it comes to grounding them in the Japanese
Bayerful w
culture
końcu
and
zrobił
mythology.
karierę
The creatures that
w
accompany
Japonii.
each character are another way we bring in
Złe
additional
zestawienie, Roja,
Japanese
bardzo złe.
influences that add to the story of each figure. The Ronin version of Geralt is accompanied by an owl, a friendly Tatarimoke
Witcher,
spirit,
Ghost of
as he
Wyzima.
prepares to
Dobre!
battle evil Oni demons.
Dobre hippies.
Ciri, on the other hand, is
Poza
followed
tym,
by
że
a
jesteś
wise
hippisem.
kitsune fox with 5 tails. With its yellow, witchery eyes, it acts as a guardian and guide as Ciri takes on a dangerous mission to take on a powerful yokai. Working on Geralt and Ciri has given us a lot of new ideas for possible stories to capture in these standalone scenes. And now I am happy to share with you our latest addition to our family of
Cyberwilku.
figures, Yennefer.
Ninja
We've
Geralt,
designed
dziękuję ci
Yen
ślicznie,
as a
pozdrawiam
kunoichi,
serdecznie.
a female ninja. The colors and the atmosphere fit her beautifully, and the ninjutsu style connects nicely with her character. When we envision Yennefer in this magical Japanese realm, the ninjutsu aura makes total sense for such a mighty sorceress. It balances a mystic atmosphere with unmatched skill. That's Yen all over. Similarly to Geralt and Ciri, Yen is also accompanied by her own creature, a Nekomata. This two-tailed cat acts as a Yennefer's familiar. For a kunoichi of such great poise, power,
Co to
and
za
magical
serdeczne
knowledge,
bzdury.
this agile
Ale podobają mi się.
feline friend makes the perfect companion. Like we did with our previous figures, we've put a lot of love into designing this latest reimagining, and we can't wait to show you the final result in not too long.
JKR
Enjoy the
będzie
rest of
zapis,
the
będzie,
WitcherCon.
będzie,
Bye.
będzie, tak. Bye. No i...
Now there's a person who's found their calling, and you know what? They're not alone. In the next installment of Humans of the Continent, we'll unveil another one of the invisible forces working passionately to make Season 2 the best it can be.
Specjalista do spraw soczewek. Tak! Dbajcie o swoje soczewki. O, Yennefer. To patrzcie, to Yennefer się zajmuje jeszcze soczewkami. Co to ma? Nie spodziewałeś się materiału o soczewkach. Nie, ja wiem, że to jest uzasadnione, ale...
It's been great interacting with the cast members and seeing how all that world's been created, going from makeup to lenses.
Nie wiem, czy wiecie, ale normalnie przy teledyskach jest taka praca, serio, nie ściemniam, jest taka praca nipple twister. Gościu, który po prostu nastawia sutki gwiazdom, żeby fajnie wyglądały w teledyskach na koncertach. Nipple twister, serio, wpiszcie sobie.
Newbie, Paul, how you enjoying
Jay,
it?
jej! Dziękuję.
Yeah, I mean,
Pozdrawiam.
throw you in right at the deep end, right from the
Tarcza i
get-go,
wbite. Elegancko.
Good, you know, and it's been lovely to have you, I have to say. And we've seen some awesome
Yes,
stuff
it
so far,
is.
but, you know, don't go anywhere. We've got our lovely house band warming us up for the fourth and
Kończcie,
final panel,
please.
Tales from the White Wolf, which is where host Josh Horowitz is going to have a chat with Henry Cavill.
Tak,
Your fellow
nareszcie.
Witcher brothers there.
Yes,
Nareszcie.
Witcher brother.
Yeah?
Witcher brother. It was an absolute joy to work with him, and we shared a lot of the same ideas.
Zawsze podobał mi
about
się
what the
głos
Witchers were
Tris,
about.
ale o tym już mówiłem.
So it was nice to get excited about working with him on season 2.
Did you bond?
Well, we did bond. We did bond. There was, you know, during the COVID time, some elbows going on. But I'm just really excited to see what he's going to say about me, because I'm sure the excitement was just as high when he found out that Lambert was going to be played by an actor that he didn't know existed.
I'm sure, and I hope that it'll be equally gushy. Why don't we
Jaka?
throw it over to the house band?
Oddajcie już komukolwiek głos. Oddajcie głos kafelkom w kiblu. O, Weronika, patrz co będą śpiewać. Lubię twoje wykonanie. Jest z nami Wera, Launcher. Wera, nie ma Wery dzisiaj. Launcher, też nie ma. Richarder! Jak to spierdolisz ze schodów? Dokładnie tak. Czemu po angielsku? Serio? Przecież wersja polska jest tak piękna. Jeszcze w wykonaniu Priscilli Presley. Coś mogłem pomylić. Ale polska wersja. Jebnij basem, syn.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks, Paul. Well, what would a WitcherCon be without the Witcher himself? He's the man of the hour. He's a
Tak!
super fan who happens to
Nagroda! Nagroda!
Mr. Henry Cavill.
Henry... O kurde, wszyscy. Gdzie są wąsy? Usunęli w postprodukcji, ale to jest na żywo. To w locie.
WitcherCon. This means you've done something right.
Yes, yeah, apparently so. Apparently so. It's exciting.
Yes, Henry,
Does it feel like a bit of validation? Obviously, this property means so much to you. You are a legit fan. But to know that the fans have come out in force and validated this first season and are ready for more just must mean the world to you.
Absolutely. It's, you know, when you go into a show like this or an IP like this after having played the games and read the books, and I love it as much as all of the fans out there, and so I do everything I can to represent Geralt in the best way possible, and to have something like this happening and a second season, it's all very exciting and very validating. I'm just glad that whatever I'm doing, whatever we're doing is entertaining.
By the way,
Dlaczego nie w
thank you for
tanktopie?
welcoming me to your super chill house. This is like a very
Henry,
welcoming
PlayStation czy
environment.
Xbox?
It's exactly what I imagined Henry Cavill's place to be.
This is well. I just figured if we're going to do it anyway, I might as well do it at my place.
Yeah, I'm glad you're comfortable. I'm
Yeah.
I'm excited
Dzięki,
and a little
Richard
scared
Gere.
at the same time.
It's okay. So just don't touch anything. Mostly poisonous.
I believe it. I believe it. Your buddy, your new co-star Paul, was just gushing about you to a degree. Talk to me a little bit about maybe is there any reciprocal gushing you want to get out of the way first of all, and what's it like to welcome new cast members to season 2? Is there an initiation at all when you join the Witcher cast?
Lambert, what a jolly nice chap. I really got on well with Paul, and I hope that I get to work with him a lot more in the years to come. It's initiation ceremonies or anything like that. No, not really. It was obviously a slightly
Nintendo.
off-kilter year, and so
Nintendo
the regular initiations of maybe hanging out in an English pub and having a Sunday roast weren't quite the thing. But we obviously, I hope they enjoyed working with me, but I definitely enjoyed working with them, and it was a lot of fun hanging out here.
We were joking before, we were looking at some footage before we got started.
Ja też przeglądałem Śmierć w Wenecji, Mrówki, Tafla wody, Gothic, Reuters. Było też trochę pasjansa.
The production of something like Witcher.
Dziękujcie, że uratowałem show.
Productions before, but is that the key difference? Just sort of the practical sets, the environment.
Ja myślałem, że pokażę łapy, kurde, będzie w zaroście. No.
I think it's more of a genre difference than anything else, because anything of scale is always scaled in its own way. And I mean, whether it be Superman.
No ale mężczyźni mieli coś dla oka, to niech mają też dziewczyny. No.
It has the other fantastic
W końcu pan
elements to it,
prowadzący to
superhero
niezłe
elements which,
ciacho.
make things feel gigantic, even though it's just a gigantic green room. It's taken months of prep of wire work to get there. And then there's the genre stuff like this, where it's all sets and costumes and wigs and hours and makeup, and that makes that feel particularly large. But then there's also the Mission Impossibles.
Zbezcześcił fraszkę
and Tom
totalnie.
doesn't do anything on a small scale. And Chris McQuarrie
No ale
sort of
co miał
everything
powiedzieć, w końcu to
when he does
Disney,
it,
nie?
it is magnificent. And everything is big in its own way, really. But yeah,
Lambert, ty huncwocie.
you notice it because you're walking onto a set like this, and
Disney
that's a
version.
room filled with other sets like this.
Right.
And it is extraordinary. It's a fun experience.
Lauren and Paul were also talking earlier about sort of the bond between Geralt and other Witchers, and how you kind of equated it in some ways to your own family dynamics with your brothers.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say? Was that a useful tool for you, applying your own experiences in your own family to even this fantastical world?
I think when it comes to the Witcher family, if you will,
right.
Ma świetny głos, kurde.
It's the same.
Nie tak dobry jak Burak, ale nie
That
najgorszy.
I would put on not only my actual brothers of blood, but the people who are my friends, who I call brother. And it's not something I just throw around.
Rzezimierz, chuliganie,
Very, very close to me. They are
kawalarzu,
akin to a brother. And
kuglarzu,
so that's more so how I would probably
a to Netflix
because we come from
adaptation.
all different walks of life. We are.
Ładny ten
we have our
Wiedźmin, taki
different aims, our
załadny.
different modus operandi, and
Lambert is bój.
don't necessarily all agree, and because we don't have that family thing, which is, you know, you don't choose family.
Czy było coś ciekawego,
so
tak?
there's
Colt
a lot
45.
Again, this is a greater debate, but with family, there tends to be a lot more in the way of highs and lows, because maybe it's because you always imagine family's going to be there.
Yes.
And
no matter what.
And yeah, even if you do something fairly horrific to one of them, and it's with these guys, it's not necessarily like that, because yes, they are a small guild, if you will, a very small and an increasingly smaller group of people. But it's because they are a unit like that, and because they have this shared sense of sorrow and loss, and the world is changing, and they are becoming more and more obsolete, that they do have a kinship there, but not the same way that I may have with my brother Nick, Charlie, Simon, Piers.
Sure.
But maybe in the same way I may have with someone else like Ben.
one of the major themes of the show, maybe the biggest theme, is destiny. And I don't know about you, but this feels like this was destined to happen for you. You chased this role. This was very important to you. Do you believe in destiny? Do you believe you were destined to play a role?
Ja nigdy nie byłem z niczym krypto.
I have been asked this question a lot.
Ja nawet kryptowalut nie kopałem.
Very different opinions. But one of my theories.
Nawet nie grypsowałem nigdy w życiu, żadnej gry nie zepsułem. Kryptogej. Od razu od górników. No. Co może jeszcze sprzedaje karty po zawyżonych cenach.
And
Scalper,
that's what I feel destiny is, and so I had to achieve a certain number of things to get this opportunity to play Geralt. It wasn't going to happen if I just lay on my sofa eating pizza.
You have to meet the moment. You have to rise to, yes.
Absolutely.
You set yourself up for success.
Ja 5% geja, po alkoholu to 5% jest po prostu trochę mocne. Jezu.
I've been very fortunate. I've been given a lot of opportunity, and it's about running with
those. W czasach bycie
And,
gejem jest duma.
With The Witcher, yes, I pursued it very hard. I was very
Biali hetero są w mniejszości, zrozumcie.
Playing Geralt, and I got the opportunity to do it, and it's something I'm thankful for.
I mean, we've
Teraz
talked
biały
about this before.
hetero
You've
to
had
ten
this
zły.
very unique career in that you've played a bunch of the biggest icons, literally, in the history of pop culture.
Yeah, it's getting there. Yeah,
it's amazing.
I just need to play Tom Cruise next.
Yeah, exactly. You heard it here first. Tom Cruise biopic. Does Tom know? But this one does. This must stand apart for you because yes, there are things like Superman and Sherlock Holmes, and those have meanings to the entire world. But something about this, my sense is that this means something different to you.
Ja wiem, dlaczego ludzie się męczą i zasypiają. Ton wypowiedzi, poklepywanie po plecach, usypiająca muzyka w tle, taka przytłumiona kolorystyka, wieczorna atmosfera.
Having had a hobby, and a major part of that hobby was playing The Witcher, Witcher 3 specifically, and then reading books and fantasy and loving that sort of thing, and then finally getting to play one of those characters.
Nie, najlepsze to gość od 45.
It does somehow make it more personal.
Zieloni od spoilerów i Colt.
I fight longer and harder for sure.
Talk to me a little bit about growing up, and I know this about you, that again, you lived and breathed this stuff.
But as a kid,
tell me a little bit about, and how were you introduced to it?
My dad would read me
Tak,
books,
opowiedz mi, jak ci tata czytał
I have
książki,
this
to po to przyszedłem.
vivid memory. I don't remember the words, but I remember lying in bed and hearing his voice. He had a great reading voice.
Przed chwilą mówiłem o usypiającym tonie, a teraz Henry mówi o tym, jak tata czytał mu do snu. Ja myślę, że w kwestii czytania do snu nikt nie przebije obsady dzisiejszego eventu.
I have one of those little earwigs. My dad would read to me, and he got me into the fantasy genre and the sci-fi genre, and then very much computer games as well. And so reading fantasy has been, that's what I read. Those are the books that people have all the different kind of books they read when they have time off, and when I have time off, when I have free time, when it's not scripts, it's fantasy books and sci-fi books.
Czyta fantazy, to polską konstytucję.
How were you expressing yourself? Were you drawing or writing? Were you play acting as a kid? How did it kind of manifest?
I don't think I drew or wrote. I'm sure my mum would be able to tell you a story otherwise about that. I do remember having a creative lean where there was one time I was reading a book about Douglas Bader, and I loved the book, and I think I was about 11, so practicing for my common entrance exams, which gets you into secondary school. And there was a question
Robert Zembrzycki.
which said, write an essay on
Pozdrawiam,
this
Robert. Cześć,
sentence
mordo.
or this picture. And it was a picture of a clown.
Kopę lat.
And
W sumie
so
to
then
30.
I then wrote a story about a Spitfire pilot who started off as a clown.
Sure.
So that was very much my lean in writing. I would always be quite creative and try and write what I wanted to write. But more to your question, as I did in art class, build a little castle out of clay because I wanted that for my Warhammer miniatures.
Warhammer? Co Warhammer?
Wood elves at the time.
Ale fantasy,
and,
yeah.
I wanted that so I could put them on the castle. Of course, it's completely wrong. They don't live in castles.
Ja, Warhammer 40,000.
But it was still something which I did, and I think that's how I expressed myself. And so it was storytelling,
Peralt
verbally, and building castles out of clay.
You're still doing that
And
metaphorically
cool
now. Yeah. Gaming. You mentioned gaming, which obviously is a key component of how you entered this world. Do you remember when you first played The Witcher 3 and what sucked you in?
I actually played The Witcher 2 first.
Okay.
And I was very busy at the time. I read some good reviews, dipped into it, and I was like, okay, I can't immerse myself just yet, and so dipped out. I never got back into it.
Right.
And so Witcher 3, when it came out, I just got stuck in, and the world building in that is so fantastic. They've set their rules. The graphics in there still stand up today. I mean, I've been playing on my 3090, and thank you very much. And people screaming out there who still haven't managed to get one.
He's the Witcher, guys. Cut him some slack.
Yeah, it's the Witcher. And so I think the graphics still stand up, and that's what I loved the most about it, was the immersion in that world. And you could really feel like you could just go do anything. And the detail was extraordinary. The characters, the storytelling, the nature of what everything was so wonderful. And all from Sapkowski's amazing work. And it was an adaptation, yes, but a sort of a post-adaptation.
Right.
It's post the books, but they're also doing some stuff which kind of happened during the books. And I thought that was a nice way of doing it,
Gdybym
because
wiedział, to bym jebnął tak z 15 serdecznych
really
monsterków.
changing any major rules, but it's more like an ode to that world.
Yeah.
And I think they did an amazing job.
Well, it's a great example of this series, this IP, as you
Opowiedz
say,
jeszcze o swoim tacie i o
honoring kind of the
bajkach
medium in
Gosny,
every
proszę.
form. The books work as the books, the games work as the games, and your show works as the show. And they're not literal adaptations of each. They're each embracing the form they're a part of.
Yeah.
It's a very intelligent way to go. So have you played the game since being The Witcher, and is that an odd experience?
I funnily enough, not long ago, fired it up again, and just because I wanted to have a look. And I don't know if I told you this. It may have been you.
Nie
but
mówiłeś,
I
powiedz.
played the game through a couple of times, both on the second hardest difficulty, Blood and Broken Bones, I think it is. And then Death March, which is the not fun way of playing the game. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to have some not fun way of playing the game. And I definitely need to re-warm myself up before I get into that. It took me 3 goes to get past the ghouls at the beginning. And I was not impressed with myself. So I may go back to Blood and Broken Bone and then have a
Mam
go at it
przyjaciela
again,
Bareka,
because I
który po
haven't
prostu
finished
z
the expansions.
zamkniętymi
Right, and it'd
oczami
be nice to
przechodzi
actually go back there and,
na ostatnim poziomie trudności Wiedźmina 3.
So the series is announced that they're developing a series, and what does Henry Cavill, this obsessive lover of gaming and this specific game and this actor, do? Do you immediately call up Team Cavill and be like, let's make this happen? How did it go down?
I called up Team Cavill, I called up my agents, and I said, guys, I hear this is happening. Let's get on top of this. Let's get ahead of this before anyone else jumps at the opportunity. And so they were calling, and I believe it was at Netflix almost immediately. And they said, look, we haven't even got a showrunner yet. We haven't got anything yet. So come back later.
Right.
And eventually Lauren was brought on as showrunner, and so we kept on calling, and then I went to go meet
Lauren została showrunnerką, więc dzwoniliśmy dalej.
It was you know what?
Jeszcze zwróćcie uwagę, tak się na chwilę przy niej zatrzymał, aż w końcu showrunnerką została Lauren.
They went through a full casting process, and then I think.
A potem dzwoniliśmy dalej.
Let's maybe revisit that, and ended up working out in my favor. Wow. So I went from
Ale spoko, showrunnerką YouTube'a też jest kobieta.
To feeling quite good about it.
I was going to say, that must have been crushing at the time.
It was a little crushing. It was a little crushing because I actually hadn't read the books until Lauren had mentioned them to me. So Lauren introduced me.
Dopiero padłem. Jakaś śmieszna literówka. Dopiero wpadłem, o co się rozchodzi. No widzisz, dopiero padłeś. My już wpadliśmy 2 godziny temu, mordo.
Absolutely spectacular. I read them all in record time.
Wow.
And I was literally landing in a plane, landing at one stage. I think it was reading A Shard of Ice. And I didn't want to get up from my seat even though everyone was moving. And I was like, no, I haven't finished yet. You don't know what's happening. And so then I got the news and I thought, okay, well, it's understandable. Maybe that's
Jak ciekawszy byłby to wywiad, gdyby Henry był ucharakteryzowany, chociaż trochę na Geralta. Jakie to byłoby genialne w swojej prostocie.
Later down the line, the opportunity popped up again.
When you read for it, when you started to kind of give your take on the role, did you know what you wanted to do?
Chciałem zrezygnować.
Did you have an idea of like what it sounded like, what the voice was, mannerisms, physicality, or did that take some time?
Physicality and mannerisms take time because it's about living in the skin of the character, and unless you're doing rehearsals all day long, which often isn't the case, it's about time on screen and time interacting, and then you find it, and then you find that place where the character sits within
Mikołaj,
yourself.
ja mam typ trzeci.
Voice-wise, I
Słodzę
remember
palcem.
saying to Lauren, so for the rehearsal with Alec and Lauren, and not rehearsal, for the audition.
Ale myślę, że wszyscy sobie to tak ładnie słodzą, że wszyscy dzisiaj pożegnamy tego streama z cukrzycą.
And I was like, that's a cool way to go. And did that, and obviously
Zróbmy sobie maraton. Gothic historia prawdziwa.
I found throughout shooting, there was one, I think it was episode 3, it's actually King Foltest, that scene where I lock everyone out of the room and walk back in.
Yeah.
I didn't do that intentionally. That happened by accident. And that was after the Christmas break. And then afterwards I was like, oh my God, I just played a whole scene in the wrong voice. And I realized that voice made a lot of things sit better when it came to delivery of certain lines and delivery of certain dialogue. And I thought, actually, I kind of prefer this. And I know it's very similar to Doug Cockle's amazing work. And that was definitely a concern of mine. I thought, I don't want to seem like I'm plagiarizing another professional's extraordinary work.
To jest oparte na faktach, na pewno nie na książce.
They are different enough. It's clearly inspired by, but I did my own thing, and then I spoke to Alec and I spoke to Lauren, and they both said, yeah, it's okay actually. If you want to do that, we can go with that, and we'll do the rest, redo the rest. We actually ended up reshooting a lot anyway, so I could go back to do the voice, which felt natural to me.
Is it a tough voice to kind of maintain through production?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Surprisingly not. It sounds like it is.
Yeah.
But it's about just finding that. I mean, season 1, I was still
Kiedy
trying to
siedzisz
find
z
it.
kumplem w kościele na kazaniu się
When
wygłupiać.
I have, but in season 2, it's not difficult to do at all. It's actually quite easy.
Hey.
What about the moment when I'm sure you went through a lot of iterations of like tweaking the look,
Teraz na
it's
to
exactly what
wpadłem.
everybody wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Do you remember a specific moment of seeing yourself in the mirror and knowing that you were satisfied, the production was satisfied?
Nipple twister, pamiętajcie, by wpisać w Google.
And I feel like Geralt's look found itself.
Mówię, okej, bawię się tym pluszowym kawałkiem drewna, a teraz odkryłem jego prawdziwy potencjał.
The nose was a little too close to the painting. It was like, yes, it's great. And then
to są prawdziwe oczy ważki.
What is this? And you're like, oh God, yeah, what is that? That's a good
Stary
point,
człowiek i
and so,
ginekomastia.
I'm glad that happened because it gave me a chance to just start to find it, take a step back from the painting.
Się nie będę tym bawił.
I need to really focus and concentrate here, and not that I wasn't, but
Boże!
I need to get back to big picture.
Yep.
And Jackie Rathore, who does my hair, she's my hairstylist. She was in charge of the wig, and
tak, opowiedz o swojej stylistce włosów, błagam. Powiedz mi o tym, Henry.
Adopted it, and then she worked in it. She was taking it home every evening taking it home. She was dreaming about that darn thing. and then eventually I think she crushed it. So it's through the season.
Ban za cycenie. Ban za porno na
really
streamie.
And that's after Jackie's had her hands on it for a while.
Have you kept a wig as a souvenir, or is that the
Właśnie, czy zachowałeś perukę? Powiedz mi o tym.
I haven't kept one yet. No, because they are actually quite valuable, and because Jackie's done so much work on them, that I would never want to take one in case
się tyle
I damage it or
napracowała?
something, or someone
Kim
spills
jest
coffee.
Jackie?
It's not a great look.
You told me once that you're a
Nic mu
details
nie
guy.
mówiłeś.
What are the
Kończcie
details
już.
that you wanted to see in this show as a Witcher fan? What do you take pride in?
Jezu, piszą już coś o tym w necie?
For me, the important thing this season was to bring Geralt as close to the books as the vision and the plot would allow. And I wanted him to be more verbose, more of an intellectual, more representative of a man who's lived 70 years and has a philosophical lean. And yeah, can be mopey at times, but is also, he's wise, he's been around, and he's a nice guy, despite the fact that he has moments of unpleasantness and is very capable of doing extraordinary
Nagonił
violence.
też beka.
It's his intentions are often, and that's the tragedy of the character, pure. And so I wanted to really reflect that as much as possible. And it's very easy to fall down the line of him being the grumpy snowman, and there's a comedy aspect to that, and I wanted to lean away from that. I wanted it to be less
Wywiady powinny być ciekawe, niełatwe, interesujące, egzekwujące, ciekawe mięcho.
Be the man who says less, because that seems like
Bo to jest takie dopytywanie się o życie Henry'ego. Co jakby Henry był z całym szacunkiem Clintem Eastwoodem, a Henry kurwa nie jest Clintem Eastwoodem. No, przynajmniej jeszcze nie teraz. To jest ten paradoks. No. Henry nie byłby popularny, gdyby nie Wiedźmin. Nie byłoby Henry'ego, gdyby nie Wiedźmin.
We started out by talking a little bit about just the nature of this, which is WitcherCon, the first
Zaczęliśmy mówić o
WitcherCon,
charakterze
and really celebration of this show, this IP, and the fans. And I'm just curious for you, when the show dropped and the response was and has been as positive as it's been, like were you,
Jezu, będzie o memach.
out there looking
No ja
for
myślę,
news?
że będzie
Were you
sporo
looking at the
memów po dzisiejszym
responses,
dniu,
or
że
was that a
będzie
dangerous place
bardzo
for you to
dużo
be,
tych
or was
memów.
I would imagine it would be thrilling to see
Emocjonujące. Po raz setny użyte to sformułowanie dzisiaj. Amazing, super, exciting.
I really enjoy that stuff. I do spend a lot of time sneaking around Reddit and reading all the forums, because that just the audience is who this is for. And
wejdźmy jeszcze w dupcie fanom troszeczkę.
Listen to them, and I think it's very important to listen to an audience and see what everyone's saying. So even if you didn't nail it the first time, you can start to adjust, you can start to tweak, you can start to sort of caress it into something which is does honor to the amazing material that Sapkowski created. And so I was reading, positive and negative, and I think it's important to do it. It's really important.
Did you guys know that Toss a Coin to Your Witcher was going to become the earworm that it became?
I mean, yeah, it was pretty catchy, but I don't think. I mean, maybe in other rooms that were discussing these kind of things, they're like, this is definitely going to be a hit. But when I heard it the first time, I was singing it to myself when I was watching all the stuff before doing.
Jak chcesz czegoś dobrego, to posłuchaj ekipy.
And that was one of the things that stuck in my head. And so yeah, I think I probably knew.
Masz swoje lody, Henry? Tak myślałem.
Actively say, this is going to be an earworm for sure. Mark my words.
Mam ochotę wypić 3 litry białej mewy.
It is. And Joey's
I poprawić biegunką. Znaczy nie biegunką,
So we know from a quiz earlier in the con about all the nicknames for your character.
Bielikiem.
There are a bunch of them. I'm of the mind that more is more. So I want to propose to you some new nicknames for Geralt.
Cannot wait.
You can yay or nay them. We're friends here. It's all good.
Okay.
I think we're all good.
Chciałbyś być jego przyjacielem, stary.
Okay.
All right,
have a boot dagger. Cool.
All right, let's take a look at a photo, and I'll give you my take. Let's start with the first photo, please. Henry.
Big tree guy.
Okay, I called this guy the sketchy silver.
Poproszę pierwsze zdjęcie Henry'ego i Henry pamiętam, jak w Titanicu.
Yes.
Łysy z Brazer.
No, but there's lots of silver there.
Albo półnagi pan prezenter. Przepraszam, to nie ten folder. Tak to powinni z jajem zrobić, na luzie, nie? To jest takie pompatyczne, cieplutkie i zachowawcze, nie?
Special clientele. But this,
Bez
if
kitu.
I met If I walked outside of
Powinni
a
się
bar
pomylić i
and
powinni
that guy was
jebnąć
standing there, definitely the sketchy stuff.
ukryty
Yeah, I might go to a
folder
different bar if I saw this guy
pana
outside.
redaktora
Yes, let's go to the next one.
w czarnej skórze. Nie?
This I call the bathing brute.
Yes.
It's accurate.
It is accurate.
Aha,
He's definitely
on nazywał
bathing.
zdjęcia Henry'ego i teraz mu je
less said, the
przedstawia.
better, I feel like. The audience just wants to probably just take this in for the moment.
Yeah, let them soak like
Ja
that.
pierdolę.
Let's go to another very literal one. This is, I call
Zamyślony
this
w
Roach Rider.
dziczy. Nie, płotkojeździe.
Roach Rider sounds
Płotkojeździec!
something from some post-apocalyptic world.
Zaraz będzie kolejny obraz Henry'ego.
The Roach Riders took us out. Or it's
Seks w
yeah,
katakumbach.
insect repellent company.
Albo
Yeah, maybe it's too much about Roach. not
ciacho
about
z
you.
blawikiem.
I mean, if someone takes this and they put some kind of, if they, like in Photoshop, just some big spray cans.
Exactly.
That would
This is a
be,
new
yeah.
business opportunity for you. Yeah.
Sztywny z redami.
Next one, please. Tall, dark, and growly.
Co jest? Jakie to jest cringe'owe? Męski prezenter wymyślił sobie tytuły do scen Henry'ego i teraz mu to przedstawia.
It's this day.
Nie, to się nie dzieje naprawdę.
And there was
To się nie dzieje naprawdę przecież.
And they all had holes in them to obviously so they don't become flooded with rain.
Jakie to jest...
Cal got one of his claws stuck in it as he jumped off, and all I heard him do was yelp, and I thought, oh, he's landed badly on his shoulder or something. And went up.
Kolejny to będzie jurny koń.
Shamefaced and holding his paw up, and he had ripped his claw all the way off apart from a little bit, and lots of blood, all sorts. We had just been called to set, and I was going, okay, how do we do this? Leah, could you please take him to the vet? And I'll go to set. She said, you gonna be okay? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. Just let's make sure Cal is looked after. And
Ale się oblałem jeszcze tą krwią.
I get a call as I'm getting gooped up. And Leah says, right. Vet says, should be fine. They're gonna remove the nail. And they need to put him under. And the vet has just warned and said, look, dog's going under. They may not necessarily wake up. Wow. And so I'm sitting there thinking, I'm
Ja
never
myślę,
gonna see
że
my
tego
dog
dziennikarza nie będziesz na
again. And I'm here
następnym.
on set doing this rather than with him. And this was a
Jak można
rough
spieprzyć
moment, but
wywiad?
freezing cold outside, right? There wasn't really a warm tent set up, even though I'd been covered in, I think this was yogurt, mostly yogurt and something else, and some kind of fruit, I think, and little bits of stuff to make it look like intestines. And I stood in front of the lights outside, and I was like, this is the good warm spot. Right. And I realized I was smoking because it was so cold outside and all the liquid had heated up in my costume. And
Oni
so
po
I
prostu
then said,
liżą jego
"We need
ego
to
tak.
take advantage of this." I think it was Alex who was shooting this.
Gońca przynajmniej sam sobie ego liże.
He said, "This is amazing."
Ale
So if you
tutaj
watch
to
it
jest...
again, you'll actually see smoke coming
Oh!
out of the scene. It's yeah, it's
Maybe, so you're Smoky Yogurt. That's your nickname. That's your
Smoky Yogurt. Yes.
And Cal's okay. That most importantly.
Cal is fine.
As a new dog owner, that story
would have been
really
a terrible
hit
end
me.
to the story.
Oh.
Yeah, he died.
No, don't even joke.
He died.
Let's go to the next one. I feel like you have a future in Vegas as the Magic Man.
Oh,
the magic
like,
Mike.
Not that card.
The choreography's already there. You just need some backup dancers.
I said 4 of clubs.
Hot cake.
And the last one, I call this is my name if I were a Witcher. Let's just call him Jerry.
Cold Steel, Jurny
He's the guy at
Mrok.
the bar. He's always there, same spot.
Jerry.
Bit weird. Yeah, smells kind of funny. Jerry. It's Jerry. Don't worry about Jerry.
I wasn't going weird. I thought he was cool, but okay.
I mean, he could be cool. Depends on what you think. Nothing wrong with smelling funny, folks.
Nothing wrong. That's a PSA for you.
Yeah.
Orgia lizania dupy, bez
Those
kitu,
are some of your
nie.
nicknames for The Witcher. Congratulations.
I love it. Those are good nicknames.
Let's tease a little bit more on season
Jak
2
Krzysiu
if we
z Krzysiem,
could.
nie wiem.
We've a bit of a way to go, but...
Nie zostało już nam nic czasu, nic! Nic nie zostało, nic nam nie zostało. Wydłużyliście to o 40 minut. Miało być dynamiczne, miała być dynamiczna dziewiątka.
Geralt he's a wise man. He's 70 years old, and there was some discussions about him sort of struggling with everything, and I thought, yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be a different. This is a different turn for him.
Yeah.
But he's also wise. You know, he's 70. He's probably seen a few children in his time, and out and about in the world, and knows what they're like. And he's heard stories from people, and he's interacted with
Ja was podziwiam, naprawdę. Największy szacunek należy się dzisiaj wam. Niezmiennie, tam nie, maksymalnie mieliśmy chyba nawet 1500 osób dzisiaj, ale cały czas, kolejna godzina od 7 do 8, od 8 do 9, prawie leci, zaraz będą 3 godziny i minimum 1100 osób non-stop, nie? No ale tak, no ale w sumie tak, no, razem raźniej, teraz.
She's no longer a princess, and so he's not going to be softening her up any further. He's going to be being straight down the line. And that was very important to me, that Geralt had a sense of humor, while also being tough and also being intellectual.
Twardy, inteligentny, mądry, żartowny. Tak jak ty, Henry. Henry, jesteś taki sam. Tak bardzo pasujesz do Wiedźmin.
Well, I can't really say too much about that. I will say that.
Co powiesz o moich okularach, Hen? Czy mogę ci tak mówić, Hen? Hen?
And the lore and the IP. It's always a pleasure sitting on set with him, waxing lyrical.
Another one you probably can't say much about, but everyone wants to know, of course,
Henry, podpiszesz mi stanik.
Geralt.
Hen?
Yes.
What can we expect? Presumably, hopefully, we'll see her again.
Again, I can't talk.
Czy wiesz, że takie osoby jak ty to praktycznie rzadkość na ziemi, Hen?
Plenty of surprises.
Let's talk about a new,
Jest mi tak gorąco, Hen.
one we haven't seen yet.
Wcale nie mam w pokoju 70 stopni Celsjusza.
Are you excited for the fans to finally see this relationship depicted on screen?
Absolutely, yes. Kim and I, we worked with each other a lot to try and create a bond between the two, and something that was important, and something that was.
Aj, Misiek, myślę, że dzisiaj to jest nasz najmniejszy problem, Mordko.
Not so simple, not so basic, not just like ugh men, and we do this and we kill stuff. It was, we wanted it to be sensitive.
Wszędzie jesteś tak owłosiony.
I believe that real men
Pokaż
are
klatę.
very sensitive. They are very capable
Pokaż
of
jeszcze
doing
raz
things
stópki.
which
Pokaż
can be
stópki, Hen.
like violent if possible or necessary. But
Co sądzisz o
at the same
gotiku,
time,
Hen?
they are incredibly capable of love and caring.
Hen, czy mogę przysunąć się do ciebie fotelem? Czuję krępującą zbyt dużą dystań i przestrzeń socjologiczną między nami, Hen. Ja pierdolę. Będę tu siedział do końca. Kurwa, umrę na tym streamie, ale będę siedział. Czym są ciekawi fani? Są tu jeszcze jacyś fani?
There's something pretty darn good, actually.
Czy będziesz to ty, Hen?
Joey's very talented.
Joey ma wielki talent. Ale nie większy niż ty, Hen. No nie gadaj tak, Hen.
More bathtub scenes, or is Geralt now taking up showers? What's happening with his bathing routine now?
Yeah, Geralt only showers from now on. He invented the shower.
Hen, pójdziemy pod prysznic.
No, actually,
Czy mogę namaścić ci olejkiem łopatki, Hen? A wiesz, gdzie będziemy, jak razem uciekniemy? Hen, daleko!
You have something, maybe a treat for the audience, actually, a little peek.
Yes, a little peek at Roach for season 2.
Nie, już odpierdala, tak na Maxiora, nie?
That's a gorgeous shot. What do you remember? What can you say about this Roach and this shot and this scene?
Well, this
Zima zaskoczyła drogowców.
Zeus from the Roach who we all know and love, and it's yeah, this scene is right in the
Hen, daleko, Hen.
They've actually done a very good job.
Zapomnij o jen, masz mnie, Hen.
I think it might have been. Oh no, it was quite cold that day, but it definitely wasn't snowing that much. But yeah, this is just a beautiful piece of work. I think this was Romain's work as DOP, and he is extraordinary, very talented man.
Kabanosek, ja się uspokoić. Byłem spokojny przez 3 godziny, bo coś takiego uspokoiłoby nawet, nie wiem, wokalistę Korna.
I've done horsework over the years, yes, but for The Witcher, because of the Roach relationship, and I didn't know how far they were going to go with it, how much
Co oglądać, Adam?
but I wanted to be
Banujcie te marudy z czatu.
It was about literally getting back in the saddle. It had been many, many years. And I had the wonderful opportunity of working with the horse masters there and in Hungary. And
nie spodziewałeś się węgierskich mistrzów jeździectwa dzisiaj.
6 hours a day to begin with. And then when I came on to season 2, I was getting up at like 5 in the morning, sometimes 4.
Oh, nie.
Just to get up and ride before work. So I was using that as my cardio, basically. So doing an hour and a half of riding. And
Wokalista Dżemu też przed koncertem sobie lubiał pojeździć na koniu.
Getting better and better and better if I could.
Aż nie wrócił.
And had the great opportunity of working with everyone there. So I was very fortunate.
Awesome. So we, as you would expect, we have some fan
You are
questions
amazing. I'm super excited.
So I'm going to hit you with these. Some of these.
Nie, nigdzie już nie
probably
przechodźmy.
Can't say much, but we're gonna see what we can get. This is the first one's from Melissa on Twitter. She asks. There it is. How did you approach Geralt's emotional state after the events?
Nie, tak mówię, kiedyś najlepiej zostawić zielonych i niebieskich, nie? Jest
At
dobrze.
the end, affect Geralt in season 2.
Well, for me, it's always important to draw from the source material, and I wanted to try and keep it as close as possible to that. Yes, the loss of Yennefer is a great blow for Geralt, and it's something which he buries deep. But he's also, as I said, a man of action, a wise man, and so I should probably stop saying man, mutant. And his focus is Cirilla, and he has to push his grief down and away and to one side, because that's not what this is about anymore. He's lost plenty of people. He's lost Witcher brothers, and Yen is particularly an emotional center for him, but he's got a job to do, and he's got to do it. And so it was an underlying thing, but I actually focused more so, Melissa.
Porozmawiajcie jeszcze o węgierskich mistrzach jeździectwa, proszę.
Jessica on Facebook wants to know, what is your favorite Witcher book in the series and why?
I mean, I haven't read the full series in a while since just before I got the role, actually. But I have read the first 3 books a number of times. And I think it still stands, and there could be a lot of reasons for this, that Blood of Elves was actually one of my favorite books. Perhaps it's just because we spend so much time with Geralt in different stories in the first 2 books, and finally we get one continuous time with him. Perhaps it was also the fantasy lover gamer in me who got to see the background of the witches and got to see where they came from. That was really, really interesting to me. And also to get an insight to Geralt's personal beliefs and where he stands, and when it comes to world politics, when it comes to the elves and man, and indeed gnomes and dwarves as well.
Kojarzycie Kaszpirowskiego?
And how he educates Cirilla on these points. And so for me, Blood of Elves I thought was a great book.
Kaszpirowski przy tym to był naprawdę
koncert Slayera. On Twitter wants to know, what have you learned from the first season of The Witcher that you were bringing into the second season?
Gry aktorskie. Błagam, odpowiedz gry
aktorskie. This is just a fake urban. This is the real one.
Yeah, the real urban. Exactly. What have you learned from the first season of The Witcher?
You had a lot of time, presumably, between first season to the second season.
That wigs take a lot of work.
Yeah.
Wigs are important. Yeah.
This is a valuable lesson.
Peruki są ważne, kurwa. Peruki są ważne.
At Amanda T on Twitter wants to know, will we get to see Geralt use more signs this season?
We will, yes.
Tak,
something which
droga z pierwszeństwem przejazdu, nakaz skrętu w lewo i znak stopu będzie też.
And exploring the witches. There are definitely some cases where discussions were had and another decision was
Jeszcze
made.
Będzie ograniczenie do 50. To będą nowe znaki Wiedźmi.
Excellent. Viscount Yask wants to know on Twitter, we have a lot of new characters announced for season 2. As a big fan of the original material, which of them are you most excited to see?
I don't know if I can actually say there's any one which I'm more excited than the others, because there are so many fantastic characters, especially
to jest niesamowite. Jest jakaś informacja w necie, do której to trwa?
We get to explore those characters in different ways, but Vesemir was always an important one to me.
Sure.
And that relationship was essential. The relationship between
Oczywiście, panie Marcin Pluszka, oczywiście,
and the other
pani Jadwiga.
witches was something which mattered greatly to me, and I loved the way just to see again Blood of Elves when reading it and seeing their interaction and the way they become.
O Misiek, pogadajmy o czymkolwiek, proszę.
To Ciri was touching because there are potentially these monstrous beings who live in the mountains, and actually they are quite soft and lovely and kind.
Before we end this, I'm hoping on behalf of the audience that maybe you've brought something special for them.
No.
Damn it.
It's good to see everyone. Thank you very much. No,
Tak, żegna się!
We have a special teaser trailer for all of you.
Już się żegnał i...
I'm your destiny.
You're much
To jest inna aktorka, to jest ładna.
I need to understand some things.
Nie wątpię. Widzę, że dalej nie zrozumiałaś uniwersum.
What exactly is Cameron?
Ona nawet nie wie, kim jest Kermoren. Czym jest Kermoren? Czytałaś książkę? Nie, czytałam ulotki.
Who the hell are you?
Nie wiem.
I feel so afraid.
Gram postać fantazji. Czuję, że mogłabym przeczytać tą książkę.
Facing your fear is not easy, but I am here for you. When I say run,
Quidditch! To... Co tam robi Quidditch?
when I say hide,
I have to stay.
you hide.
Siedź i czytaj.
Run!
Ja mam bekę, bo były wywiady i tam ona wpadła kilka razy, że ona nie wie, o co chodzi z dziećmi.
But you can find power and purpose. Where is she?
What if your princess is more than you're barking for?
Nie, z chęcią zobaczę. Może ona jest ładna. A nie, to jest inna aktorka, to musi być inny aktor. I dlaczego Ciri jest biała, tego nie rozumiem. O, ale na szczęście jest jedna pewnie.
Well, we can't see the audience at home, but on behalf of them, I think they're going something like this.
I was really hoping you were going to fully commit to that.
Na bank tak robią.
It looks awesome. It looks epic. It's everything you want and more. Congratulations. December 17th.
Boże, jak dobrze, że mam siebie.
Can't come soon enough. Thank you, as always, buddy, for bringing your passion to all your projects.
Za wielką pasję i klatę i ten mocny męski zapach perfum. Hen,
Thank you. It's been great to see you. And
wiesz, gdzie mam przyczepę.
there's something I've been dying to say. Sorry, this is completely. I just every day on set. On
O
this
nie,
set,
on jeszcze nie skończył.
I was grinding my teeth because there was no one who would know the reference that I'm about to give you. And I mean, even if you don't get it, there's some cameras here and there are people at home who will get it.
Okay.
Do you know Warhammer at all? Warhammer
Tak!
4000?
Boże, Warhammer 40 000!
That's fine. There's people at home.
Niektórzy widzowie na pewno to kojarzą. Ale jazda!
That chandelier looks like a Blackstone fortress. And
O kurde!
I know no one on set would have got that.
No to
and so
na koniec taka
I've been
jazda.
biting my tongue about that, so I don't sound like too much of a crazy
You're in the
person.
right place.
Henry Cavill o Warhammerze 40 000. Na sam
The
koniec.
set design from Andrew Laws is amazing. I love it. And I don't know if that was his inspiration.
Moi drodzy,
That
cuda,
thing looks like a Blackstone.
cuda się zdarzają, nie?
And I love how much you bring to this project.
Cuda się
and it shows in the
zdarzają.
finished product. Thank you again for your time, buddy.
Thank you.
Let's go back
Nie,
to
serio,
Julia,
ja
who's going to
ubóstwiam
wrap
to
up this first
uniwersum.
WitcherCon for all of us.
Od
Julia.
roku cały czas czytam książki. Najchudsza ma 600 stron.
That
I Henry Cavill, na sam koniec. Najciekawsza sprawa, to Warhammer 40 000. No, macie za co dziękować. Naprawdę uważam, że macie za co dziękować ludziom.
Inside Caremore, we picked the brains of the cast, the crew, and the developers. But there is still a little bit more. CD Projekt Red invites you to relive the best moments from the biggest Gwent the Witcher game.
Nie chcę tego oglądać. Nie.
Masters. The rebroadcast starts immediately after our end credits. And, you know, just in case you missed some of today's panels or you're hoping to see even more reveals and announcements,
no to mi się zlało w jedną gadkę.
Once more for those of you in the other hemisphere in just a few hours' time. Now it's time for the band to take us away one last time. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Ja pierdolę. Patrzcie teraz tu tam. Jak tam WitcherCon? No, Warhammer 40 000, co? No właśnie. Opo. Dobra, to niech sobie leci, a ja rozdaję kod, nie? Na hasło J, moi drodzy, do wygrania Mana Spark. Zapraszam serdecznie. Przez E, nie A. J, Y, E, J, E, Y.
When a humble bard graced a ride along with Geralt of Rivia.
Skończyło się, moi drodzy, skończyło się.
From when the White Wolf fought a silver-tongued devil, his army of elves at his hooves did they.
Losujemy. I wygrywa Akiro.
Came after me with masterful deceit, broke down my lute and they kicked in my teeth, while the devil's horns minced our tender meat. And so cried the Witcher, he can't be bleed. Toss a coin to your Witcher, O Valley of Plenty, O Valley of Plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your Witcher, O Valley of Plenty.
Tak, nie uciekajcie, jeszcze kody rozdaję.
Toss a coin to your
Dobra, Hifi.
O Valley of Plenty,
Kod numer 2.
O Valley of Plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your Witcher, O Valley of Plenty.
Już skończyli? Tak. 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 No, ja też chilluję 3 godziny. Hifi. High five. Pozdrawiam serdecznie, dziękuję Kacper. Kacper od Daniela. Pozdrawiam, mordeczko. Okej. Licht Spear. Wygrywa na hasło Hifi. Kabanoszek. Kabanoszek. Myśmy go nie zbanowali w końcu? Patrz, Marudo, wygrałeś niezasłużenie. Kabanoszek. Kabanoszek. Boże. U mnie nawet hejterzy coś wygrywają. Boże. Jack Chives. Jack. Kod numer 3 do wygrania Scrap Out. Zapraszam serdecznie. Zapraszam. Szybko, szybkie losowanka cię będą, bo ja umieram po prostu. Zaraz dostanę udaru. Pozdrawiam, całuję serdecznie, czule, gdzie tylko chcesz. Bawiłem się wybornie dzięki sobie, dzięki wam, dzięki eventowi. Było super. Losujemy na Jacka. 3, 2, 1, pyk. I wygrywa Migor. Wygrywa Migor 59. Migor 59. Osoby, które wygrywają, proszę o oznaczenie Onexerę, Stalkera albo Łozy i podanie maila. W celu wysyłki kodowej, którą zrobię jutro, bo dzisiaj już nie mam sił nawet myśleć. Migor, graty. Wywołam cię. Gdzieś ty jesteś supporter. Czy Migor wie, że wygrał? Graty. Kod numer 4. Detenants. Na hasło Cyberwolf, no to będzie cyber. Duże C. Także pamiętajcie dzisiajcie, moi drodzy. Podziśajcie. Peruki. Pan Marcin na podłodze. 45. Trochę tego było. W sumie jakby się tak zastanowić, wcale nie było nudno. Dobrze, szybko na hasło cyber. Kto pierwszy, ten lepszy. Pyk! I wygrywa Cebiro, ale ty przystojny jesteś, Cebiro. Boże, mógłbyś Jaskra grać. Cebiro. Cebiro, gratulujemy, Cebiro, unknown. Cebiro, ciasteczko, ty moje graty. I teraz Broken Reality. Broken Reality. Na hasło Minos. Przez 2N. Czy będzie zapis? Oczywiście, że będzie zapis. Będzie szybciusieńki zapis. Cieplutki. Cieplutki zapis będzie, tak. Wrzucę to do playlisty Hot and New, zapisy streamów i dam jako publiczny zapis. Nie tylko w publicznej playliście. O rany, moi drodzy. No i moi drodzy, losujemy 3, 2, 1 na szybkiego Minosa i wygrywa Zisio. Dużo. Zisio, gratulujemy. Przypominam, jeśli ktoś nie podał maila z oznaczeniem Łoza albo Stalker, to nie wygra. Akiro, Kabanoszek, Migor 59, Cebiro i Zisio. Moi drodzy, dziękuję wam ślicznie. Wiecie, że nie wiem, nie udaje mi się ratować, czy nie ratować, no nieważne, tak. A jak jest komedia, to tak to zostawiam, a jak jest dramat, to staram się to zamieniać w komedię, żeby była przynajmniej tragikomedia. Czy tak było dzisiaj? Nie wiem, może nie mi to oceniać. Pozdrawiam was serdecznie i równie serdecznie przypominam o specialu i nie tylko, będzie dużo, myślę, fajnych atrakcji z tytułu 10-lecia kanału. Tak, mój kanał Rojo ma 10 lat, 26 lipca. Przecieki co do różnych atrakcji od dnia 13 lipca we wtorek. Będzie na Instagramie i na Facebooku. Ale oczywiście będą pojawiać się materiały inne cały czas, jak chociażby wtorkowe horojki, jutrzejszy bardzo, bardzo dziwny unboxing. Zapraszam serdecznie na jutrzejszy unboxing, tak. Będzie też wywiad z moim ojcem. Także będzie Patryk i Piotr w ramach moich urojeń. Nie, w ramach moich urojeń. Źle zabrzmiało w stosunku do wyimaginowanego ojca. Nie, mówię co czuję. Mówię co czuję i czuję szlaban. Ja czuję, że... Bo jutro będę nagrywał z ojcem, bo przychodzi na grilla. Vloga z ojcem i coś czuję, że będzie mnóstwo żarcików, nie? Z panem Piotrem. Także będzie się działo, będzie się działo, moi drodzy. Dziękuję wam ślicznie i z wyjątkową, ogromną przyjemnością, radością, wiktorią na ustach kończę streama. Śpijcie dobrze. Dziękuję za wszystko. Pozdrawiam was bardzo serdecznie. Tarcza. Nareszcie. Kurwa.